Yeah, we find her, the beautiful girl we've been missing. We wanna have her kissing. We find her, now we in love. Say go so, the remix.
EMB, Tuck Spice, remix.
Now if I had to lose you like a bad phone connection, I'd change my game to get a better reception. Sit back, let's start this interaction. Don't fight the feelings, just a chain reaction. Your heart won't give it the wrong instructions. Like my GPS, yes, I got the right direction. We gotta merge together like a road intersection. Last stop is gonna be my love and affection. I ain't like the mother dudes, they wanna call you shorty, but I'ma call you a beautiful girl. I took your picture home, my mama saw it, she's a very, very beautiful girl. I wanna put you in my video, cause you're so beautiful. You're a beautiful girl. So when you hear us on your radio, turn up your stereo. It's beautiful girl.
Gotta find a shorty, what's worth of a lady. It's nice, but maybe doesn't look like 40. It's taking a little time. I wasn't seeing no signs, any traces of my baby. Who's gonna be my baby? But I thought I'm gonna take my time. But then it took a long fun eye. I saw a shorty passing by. She's got this very pretty smile. He was right at the bus station. I tried to make a conversation, holding her arms, feeling so charmed. I felt the sensation. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Now I realize I found me a beautiful girl. She's a model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it by. Beautiful girl, sparkling eyes, a killing eye. I found me a beautiful girl.
My wish came true when I saw you, girl. God must have blessed me with your beauty, girl. Looking so right from your head to your toe. Shaped like a cocoa bottle with a smile of a queen. My queen to be, you my destiny. Got a body of a goddess with your beauty. I'm impressed and I'm never in distress. Come on over and be mine. Been searching for a man and now all the cats keep looking to mine. With a sexy walk and a sexy talk, she must be from a planet called the sexy world. I know I ain't tripping, better yet I'm thinking put a ring on the finger. We look good together. Take your place in my heart with your beauty. I'ma say that I'll never turn away. Who would think I'm in love?
Such the way she smiles at me just really makes me weak. The way she speaks to me just really make me go so weak. Keep staring in her eyebrows. All I kept on saying is wow. Your beauty shines and breeze at night. All I really want in my life. Oh yeah. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl, sparkling eyes, killing tie. I found me a beautiful girl.
GPS, yes, I got the right direction. We gotta merge together like a road intersection. Last stop is gonna be my love and affection. I ain't like the mother dudes, they wanna call you shorty, but I'ma call you a beautiful girl. I took your picture home, my mama saw it, she's a very, very beautiful girl. I wanna put you in my video, cause you're so beautiful. You're a beautiful girl. So when you hear us on your radio, turn up your stereo. It's beautiful girl.
Gotta find a shorty, what's worth of a lady. It's nice, but maybe doesn't look like 40. It's taking a little time. I wasn't seeing no signs, any traces of my baby. Who's gonna be my baby? But I thought I'm gonna take my time. But then it took a long fun eye. I saw a shorty passing by. She's got this very pretty smile. He was right at the base station. I tried to make a conversation, holding her arms, feeling so charmed. I felt the sensation. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Now I realize I found me a beautiful girl. She's a model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it by beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, a killing eye. I found me a beautiful girl.
Body me LP, oh yeah,
My wish came true when I saw you, girl. God must have blessed me with your beauty, girl. Looking so right from your head to your toe, shaped like a Coke bottle with a smile of a queen. My queen to be, you my destiny. Got a body of a goddess with your beauty. I'm impressed and I'm never in distress. Come on over and be mine. Been searching for a man and now all the cats keep looking to mine. With a sexy walk and a sexy talk, she must be from a planet called the sexy world. I know I ain't tripping, better yet I'm thinking put a ring on the finger. We look good together, take your place in my heart. With your beauty I must say that I'll never turn away. Who would think I'm in love?
Such the way she smiles at me just really makes me weak. The way she speaks to me just really make me go so weak. Keep tearing in her eyebrows. All I kept on saying is wow. Your beauty shines and breeze at night. All I really want in my life. Oh yeah. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, killing tight. I found me a beautiful girl. Yeah, beautiful girl. One beautiful girl, yeah. Beautiful girl.
Damn. Money. You seen her? Hot Ice. Have you seen her? LP. Have you seen her? I'ma go over to Tux Bites. I know you've probably seen her. He has a lot of beautiful girls with him. Tux, it's DMV, baby. Look.
Beautiful.
I look for a while, but I can't seem to find a beautiful girl so I can make her mine. Time after time, I've been searching for a while, but every girl I meet never seems worthwhile. What can I do? I pray to God for an answer. I feel pains in my heart like cancer, and when I find her, I'm gonna romance her. Lace her with presents and gifts. Call me Santa Claus. I make a heartbeat pause. That's my girl, homeboy, not yours. The girl of my dreams, she's more than I ever thought. Show me Aston Kutcher, I think I'm getting punked. She's what I really want, so I'ma go get her. Since I'm a go getter, you know I'm gon' get her. And I will give her the world, anything for my beautiful girl.
Psych. Ooh, it's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, killing tight. I found a beautiful girl.
Girl, it's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
Called the sexy world. I know I ain't tripping, better yet I'm thinking put a ring on the finger. We look good together, take your place in my heart. With your beauty I must say that I'll never turn away. Who would think I'm in love?
Such the way she smiles at me just really makes me weak. The way she speaks to me just really make me go so weak. Keep tearing in her eyebrows. All I kept on saying is wow. Your beauty shines and breeze at night. All I really want in my life. Oh yeah. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, killing.
Hey, what's going on? If you can hear me loud and clear, let me know. If you notice, I kept rewinding because I was caught up in a call and pardon me. If you can hear me, let me know that you can hear me loud and clear. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen of Prestige, welcome back. We're on the 114th Bishop's episode. So what's that? What do you mean, Bishop? I know, right? But yeah, 114th Prestige Hour. That's what we're on right now. Shout out to you if you're here. Today we started quite late. I'm a little bit caught up today and all of that good stuff, But we're here. We made it. We made it. Let me do some quick shout out. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. The music is not too loud. I love the music. Yes, I do. Okay. It gets me going. Not too loud. Let me know. Shout out to D'Souza. Good to see you, D'Souza. D-Love, of course. D-Love. Shout out to you. Tiffany, of course. Good to see you, Tiffany. Tiffany says, Omo, we still don't want him for president. I know. I'm sorry. You're going to have to deal with him. You don't have a choice, right? At least for now, okay? At least for now, you don't have a choice, But we move. Nonetheless, we move, right? But where we are, we have a new president-elect in Nigeria. That is what it is. Dilo said, very sad situation. It is horrendous. I'm physically in the US, but my heart and mind is in Nigeria. Listen, I'm telling you, it might not be as bad as you think. I will never go there again. Irony, Kilode. D-Love. Kilode. We now know for sure there's nothing there for us. Obodo Yibo people. Be careful what you tell yourself. Be careful, Listen. It's going to be all right. It's already all right. Give me 1 second. It's going to be all right. Let's see. 1 second. It's going to be all right. Trust me. Okay. Trust me. It's not business as usual in Nigeria. Okay. It's not the same thing. I keep telling you that. It's not the same thing. It's never been before that. Let me show you the numbers again. Maybe you don't understand what's going on. You're stuck on the election day and the outcome of the election day. I understand. I understand. 1 second. Yeah. It's not business as usual. Okay. Sorry for my distraction a little bit here today. Let me show you what we got going on here. I don't know if you understand the space we're in right now. Look at this. Okay. Just look at this. When was the last time somebody won Nigerian presidential election with 8 million votes? Something is happening. Okay. Don't be discouraged. This is not the time to be discouraged. For those of you that are obedient, this is not the time to be discouraged. This was a test for you. Okay. Because I'm telling you, there's nobody that thought that Obi can get 6 million Shingbai in votes. Okay? Asiwaju won by 8.7 million votes. The Obedients were able to, in spite of all the riggings that obviously happened, were able to get 6 million votes. You think you had 3 million votes and they mistakenly gave you 6 million votes? You can double that 6 million, okay? Obedient probably got easy 12 million, 11 million votes. This is just the number you see after the rigging, okay? Somebody was saying, you know what? This was an evil act towards the PDP. This was basically dividing PDP votes. I beg to differ. There were inside that 6 million votes, there are tons of people that would have voted for Asiwaju. And also tons of people, millions of people that would have voted for Atiku. Okay? So this is not a simple math. People always try to bring up some stupid simple math into this type of deal. That's not what's going on here. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Let's get it. I'm starting late, abnormal time today. So let's fire off the algorithms. Help me hit that like button. Thank you. Shout out to all 9 of you watching me right now. Okay, I got some interesting stuff to you today. For you today, we're going to talk about divorce today. We're going to talk about some relationship stuff today. I have some cool analysis for us to go through over the next hour or so. Okay, but let's talk about this really quickly. This trendy stuff here, right? So yes, he's been declared the president-elect. Okay, there's no one single event, one single day, one single moment that defines anybody's what do you call it? Anybody's fate. So there was no way one single day of election would have defined the obedient movement. What do you need me to start inspiring you? Because this is not how the game works. In real life, the game does. If you need inspiration, you don't belong in this game. Okay? You probably should stop looking at election for the rest of your life. If this is gonna be about one election day to you. For crying out loud, there's an election day that's coming up on March 11th or so. There's a bunch of Labor Party governors and stuff like that. I think a few, right? At least we know about the Lagos governor, right? That's coming up. You can't listen, you don't belong in the game of life, of power and relationships if you're going to cry over one event. It's not for you. What do you want me to tell you? Okay? You probably should just take your eyes off of it and forget it, okay? Because your feelings are going to be hurt from time to time. I know it's not fair. I know. That's why the title says fairness versus power. I want you to engage the power side of things. Stop looking for fairness. Okay? The very idea that Peter Obi was not going to give anybody shishi, right? It's more than enough to predict that he would never enter that office ever. But that idea has been proven to be wrong by the very fact that he was able to get 6 million votes. So imagine next 4 years from now, imagine doubling that number, 12 million votes, right? Imagine tripling it if everybody can see clearly right now that this movement is not to be played with, right? But if you're too engaged in emotionalism, emotional blackmail and all this kind of stuff, it's not fair, these evil people, listen, you're not saying anything that's new. Everybody knew that they rigged it, okay? You're not saying anything that's new anywhere, okay? So get back into the game. If you know you're built for this game, get back into the game, okay? The next stop is March 11th. I think a few governors are running. I know of this guy at least. Did I just close it? I think I closed it. Let me see. Oh, no, I didn't close it. I know of this guy at least, right? He's running in Lagos under the Lagos party. He's obedient. Right? You need to be encouraging people to get out there and vote as many people in that movement as possible into the House, into governorship, right? A lot of those states that were delivered to Asiwaju was because they were APC governors. It makes a lot of difference, right? Let me see who is saying, Brother Patrick, good to see you, Brother Patrick. Sorry, I just noticed. He's the beginning and the ending. Peter Obi is not to be played with. You know, let me show you what somebody said. Let me show you a couple of things that's being said about him. This is by Fayose. This is one of the cabals, one of the existing powers, liars that they're thieves and all this kind of stuff that the majority of people are busy calling them. But I'm just saying, if you come here to Man of Prestige, you're not the majority of people. I expect you to not just learn about relationships, right? Number one, but also learn about how power dynamics work. Fairness doesn't work when it comes to this kind of games, okay? Character, moral, values, all that kind of stuff. Listen, you're not the first that will preach those things at them. You need to learn how to play the game. And if you're going to come up with a new thing, right? If you're going to come up with a new thing called doing the right thing in politics, at least you should know that, at least you should be aware of the existing rules and understand that you're swimming against the trend, and you probably should pay attention to some things, right? If you're going to be playing a game against the Ashiwajus, the Atikus, and you're not going to be giving shishi, then you really need to understand. You need to keep mobilizing the people, teach people about how power works, right? Teach people that it's not about election days. That's just the first stop. Just in case they play the other game against you, meaning rigging, you're willing to go through the due process, fight it in court. Somebody say, yeah, but these are the guys paying the judiciary that there's no chances. Says who? Let me tell you something. If you have numbers such as 6 million people voting for you after it was rigged, that rules no longer, that type of rules don't no longer apply. Okay? Why? Because people no be your mates. If you have numbers behind you, that's all it takes. That's what they've always had, right? Before, right? They would have 12 million, 13 million, and they win, right? Not that much, but at 10 million, right? At least almost half of the whole game, right? But now there's a powerful third force. 6 millions is no joke. I said 6 millions, right? So you're disappointed, granted, you're human. I get it, okay? But the game continues. Let me play what this guy here is saying, something that makes sense. That if you're obedient, you probably should pay attention to. And if you're articulated or you're batified, you should pay attention to, because it's no longer business as usual. Okay? Let me find it. There you go. Let me play.
First and foremost, thank you all for coming out.
His name is GR. They call him GRV. Gbadebo. What's his name? Vivor. Bademore Roads Vivor, something like that. But he's a Lagos boy. Just here, he's running for the governor of Lagos State, which used to be owned up till a few days ago. Used to be owned by the Jagaban. That's no longer the case. Listen, if they won a lot more numbers than 500,000, they wouldn't give it away for free. They stole some of yours, and then they gave you, some of yours, okay? Just so it can look a certain way. That's what happened. So they no longer own Lagos. I'm not talking about the tribes. I'm talking about the Jagabans, that movement, right? So listen.
Massively, and showing that Lagos State is the birthplace and home of the obedient movement. And more than that, standing strong despite all the harassment, despite all the inconvenience, despite all the obstacles that were put in our way. People were out till 11 o'clock standing to make sure that their votes counted, despite the broken promises of the INEC chairman. So I want to say again, we thank you, Lagosians. The Labour Party thanks you. We thank all the well-meaning Lagosians that came out to vote for His Excellency Peter Obi on Saturday. It is important to note that this was not a tribal victory. We won in places where the opposition party has never won in 2 decades. We won in Alimosho, we won in Ikeja, we won in Lagos mainland, despite all the cheating and manipulation of votes that we saw. From 50,000 votes that's missing in our vote counts in Alimosho to now 20,000 missing our vote counts in Ikeja. From our situation room, we see that we won over 900,000 votes.
900,000 votes.
The APC's 155,000 votes.
Right.
And this was done because you all came out in mass and showed your strength. And this was done also without any monetary inducement. So we cannot continue, we cannot stop thanking the good people of Lagos. We made history in that election, and we took Lagos State and restored it back to the people. It's important to note that we unequivocally reject the results. We reject the process by which these results were announced. The fact that there was no belief in the civil service. There will be no such thing as redundancies. We will partner together and work to make sure that your lives are much better than quality of lives, and give them an alternative means of earning a living. So civil servants, you have nothing to fear with this new government. In fact, you have...
So anyway, you have a 40-year-old man running right now. It's not time to rest. This is not the time to rest. It's time to pay attention objectively to what just happened. Okay? Say, oh, okay, that was election day. That was the first stepping stone. 6 million votes, no be your mate. We move, right? The courts, they're probably going to go to court. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. Due process, right? Don't worry about, oh, they're going to pay them. They're going to try to sabotage. Don't worry about that. I heard somebody said, oh, it might take, last time when it was governor, when Obi was governor, it was took 3 years to get back the mandate. Don't worry about it. This is real life, okay? This is real world. It's happening in front of you. Yes, at Asiwaju, Tinubu just got declared president-elect. It's as simple as that. Congratulations to him. I wish him best. I hope he gets into the office, right? Is it possible he will never get into the office? Of course. These people, they don't care about any one-day event. You shouldn't. You should always be playing the long game. It's never about any short-term gratification, right? Think about Tinubu. Tinubu is a book to study. He's been working towards last night for 30 years. What makes you think you're going to work for, 9 months and think that's just over, right? Listen, 6 million votes in 9 months is already a lot, okay? There's a wave of young people. There's a wave of new age to Nigerians coming to them. Obviously, you can see the votes, right? So you can't let one simple ounce of quote-unquote failure, which I don't consider failure, stop you or get you stuck or you're giving up and you say, I don't think... Are you kidding me? Like, no. That means you were not built for the game in the first place if you're talking like that, okay? That means you were not built for the game in the first place. You can't do that. You can't sound like that. Okay? Long game. It started months ago. So you now have to build on top of it. No, it started 4 years ago when Showore had 30,000 votes and Fela Durotoye had 15,000 and all of them together. Mogalu, they had 100,000 votes. It started with that. People thought they were going to be a third force. They were not, but it was a stepping stone. 4 years later, what happened? Multiply that by God knows how many. It's 6 million votes. The young people are taking over Nigeria, okay? BVAs, IRFs, the servers, they lied to us. Okay, yeah, they lied to you. That's not new. Who told you that was new? Right? Where did you get the idea that was new? That rigging is new. They're still rigging the United States of America. Did you know that? That doesn't justify it. I'm just letting you know this is the kind of game you are playing. We're talking about people potentially oppressing, suppressing you for the rest of your life, your generations to come. You think they're just going to hand it over to you. You did think that, didn't you? Yeah, you were wrong. You were wrong. Okay? So if you do, just in case you are having issues with your belief system with regards to how powerful Peter Obi is, let me show you what Fayose has to say. Let me play this for you.
If you have lost in an election, PDP should admit this election.
Let me bring this here.
In Lagos,
just quickly,
PDP got 75,000
shout out to your accounting
votes. Are you telling me that PDP is on ground in Lagos? The people they picked in Lagos in the primaries are people I call people doing theater.
Shatter. My grandma would say shatter.
And you want to tell me?
It has to do with some of the key concerns raised by the people. Now,
which people?
I'm coming. We've seen political parties, opposition.
When you lose in an election.
I'm narrowing this now to a very prominent Nigerian, former President Obasanjo, who categorically used words like blood money. He accused INEC and some of his agents
of being compromised.
Yes, of being compromised.
You want me to respond to that? President Obasanjo has no moral justification. I don't want to criticize him because he's a leader. But let me say the truth. I love Obi. I respect Obi. Obi is a light that must shine. But Obasanjo cannot deny that Obasanjo is an obedient. Obasanjo wrote a letter to say they should vote for Obi. The moment you are in the ring, you can't call the shots anymore. The referee must call the shots. Obasanjo is partisan already. My brother, don't let us come and deceive the public here. Baba, that I know very well, if things are not going his way, he must throw spanner. But I don't want Obi and Baba's matter to be joined together.
They're not the same thing.
Fresh person that the whole country loves and all that.
Did you know that some people actually got overly excited because Obasanjo had something to say? Like, don't be so quick to lose focus. Like, Obasanjo is, let him say it, but don't lose focus. And I hope the obedient movement and the whole party, they're not losing focus either. Everybody wants to be their friend right now. PDP wants to be their friend right now. Right? What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Listen, I'm not even here to inspire you because I'm not really obedient like that. I'll be honest with you. Okay? I'm not. Okay? Not until recent times, literally less than 2 months ago, did I start to pay attention. I kind of like this guy, right? So I don't want to take that spot at all. But just pay attention objectively to what you're seeing going on. It's changing. Power is exchanging hands. And it has nothing to do with fairness. Even Mr. Obi himself knows that you can't use, this is not about fairness. Unless he's just going to use it as talking points because he knows that the rest of you are that gullible. It's never about fairness. It's about power. Yes, even in democracy. Okay? You need to understand what your leverage points are. You need to learn how to leverage the powers that be if you're going to move a different direction, meaning let's do the right thing. You need to have the power of the people on your side. Okay? You can't have the opposition beating you at being likable. I think Mr. Obi understands that right now, right? Charisma is a big deal. Charisma is a big reason why you see a lot of people, for some reason, surprisingly to you, a lot of people supporting the Jagaban. Likability. It's not about how phonetic his English sounds. Nigerians don't care about that. You should know that by now. If you don't know, Nigerians need you to be likable. Why are you following Obi right now? Is it because he's that holy? No, it's because you find him likable. Let's see what he says. He says more about Obi right now.
And I want to say it here. Whether you put knife on my neck or you don't believe me, Obi's movement is a great movement, but nobody will tell me that movement has gotten to the north, except we want to deceive ourselves. He hasn't gotten to the north. Atiku won only in 2 states in the south. He won in Akwa Ibom, he won in Osun. Other states are in the north. Don't let us deceive ourselves. The only person that matters in this election, that can complain in this election to a certain level, is Obi. But the reality is that if you don't meet the constitutional requirement, we got to be honest. Obi is a good brother of mine. I don't, because of any reason, come to lie here.
And he says he's going to go to court, and the PDP will also go to court.
If you want to go to court.
You say that you've been working for the PDP. Well, it seemed you worked against your own
party.
I work,
without doubt.
And all that.
Let me tell you.
Did Atiku pay dearly for not mending fences with people like you, people like Wike? Is that what happened?
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just about time.
To hit anyone. PDP is a fractured party before this election.
All right, listen to this point he's about to make. People think Peter Obi did they're evil people. Somebody said they're evil, obedience are evil. They put a dagger and divided the whole thing up, and no. There was division in PDP already, obviously. Forget that. There's division in APC too. I saw somebody trying to cap yesterday that there's no division in APC during the ceremony for presenting the certificate of returns to Jagaban, I think. It was like, no, APC was never divided. Yes, they are divided right now. Because they're going to be asking themselves, what were we looking at? How did they end up with 9 million votes that we had to steal 3 from them to win? They're asking, there's division, there's active division. Because somebody's going to be held accountable for that 6 million votes. Where did it come from? What were we looking at? Remember, let me bring you up to speed. They hired a bunch of young people who were supposed to be Igbalode. They understand the new times, the modern times, and how to connect. And somehow these people dropped the ball. Right? And they ended up with 6 million votes. Somebody is being held accountable for that right now. That's division. And that's what you want. Accounting says obedient movement don't know what they have achieved. This election has demonstrated a shift in the dynamics of politics. Exactly. Let me keep playing.
People say they can win this election. Are you the national chairman?
Hey, Lady Nevoa.
The party was cashing out on aspirants. Those who became candidates in some places, you see that allegedly, with all respect, in some places before these primaries, a lot of people, they took their money. People were aggrieved. Let me equally say to you, a political party that lost an Obi, a political party that lost Kwankwanso.
Think about it. Think about it. A political party that lost an Obi. Obi did not follow out the skies. Obi is not your Showore. He was in PDP. He was in maybe a few other parties too, right? So can you imagine how they be pinching themselves right now? Like, what did we do? How did we lose this guy? How did you lose sight of foresight? Like, no, this guy is the future. Is the kind of guy with the kind of records that the young people will want to align with because of how clean his records are. How did you lose that? Somebody's being held accountable for that right now. This is not the time to be sad. It's time to be, if you're truly an obedient, if you belong in this game, you should be excited. Okay? That's what you should be right now.
Kwankwanso left this party during the Northwest Zonal Congress that was rigged for Tambua. Don't forget the same Tambua left this party in 2015. And Atiku and all of them. When they didn't have their way in APC, they ran back. They are actually called Obotes. Obotes have a certain...
Let me tell you this. They've been confused for a while now. Just in case you don't realize. They've been confused. How many politicians in Nigeria do you know deflect all the time? Or defect, right? They run back and forth between different parties. Right? How many times have what's his name? What's the name of this guy? FFK. Femi Fani Kayode. How many times has he jumped back and forth? Do you think political parties have ideologies that they actually hold on to in Nigeria? No, it's about where they think they have the best chance to win, right? But the biggest two parties in Nigeria now, they're now confused all over the place. Watch what's about to happen with Labour Party, right? Watch what's about to happen. A bunch of people are going to start to try to align with them. People are going to be suggesting, what do you call a coalition to them, right? And it would be stupid to just allow anything because they were able to get 6 million votes by themselves, right? Is it that easy to determine? No, it's not that easy either. They have to really do their math and make sure it makes sense. It's worth it, right? But today is a good day. I'm telling you. Today's a good day. And I don't think you're stuck. This is what we do with church too. We go to church to go and worship the pastor, as opposed to look at the bigger picture, right? Why do you go to church? Are you a Christian or are you just there to worship that church? Listen, Obi is a fantastic figure that really helped. His records really helped. But the movement has to be bigger than that one person. And I think he understands that. I think a lot of obedience, from everything I've seen in the past 48 hours, especially today, since early morning today when they declared Asiwaju as the president-elect. I'm like, these ones are not ready. You're not ready for this game, right? There's a lot more disappointments coming. But this is actually not a disappointment. This is 6 million votes after they stole about 5 of it, right? You got to pay attention. March 11 is here. There's a court case coming. You're not just going to be silent when the court case is going on. You need to keep agitating. You need to keep making noise, right? Because the more people are loud about this, especially at international levels, in a way that the international community can hear it, it matters. Your voice matters. If it never mattered, they wouldn't be paying for it. Let's keep going.
And when you run away, you come and face the consequence. So let me tell you very clearly.
They say when you run away from the party and you come back and you're going back and forth like that, you face the consequences. What's the consequences? The division. A house divided against itself will stand. That's not the first time I'm saying that here. It's the same rules. Either you're talking relationships, you're talking about power dynamics, right? It's not the same rules with fairness if you're playing the fairness game. Because in fairness, all you have to do is cry about fairness. Hopefully somebody will hear your cry one day. Hopefully. Right? But when it comes to relationships and power, okay, it's not your mate. What you would tell you, right? Somebody's always going to feel like the other person is not being fair. We have a great example to cover today on the divorce with the Sidoras, Drew and Ralph, right? This is not a place where you come to play fairness. No, it should be equal. It's kind of like should be like, you don't play that game here. There's no better way to say you're powerless. And nobody wants to align with the person that's powerless. No one is attracted to powerless people. It sounds evil, I know. But where's the correlation? You don't see yet? Just keep listening, okay? Just keep listening.
That PDP, with all respect, I can't say because I'm a member of PDP, I will come and be lying.
Hey, Miss
It's
Olatunji.
over for the PDP.
I believe so. In the federal level. Federal level only.
He said it's over for PDP at the federal level.
All the governors of PDP.
I think it's over for APC too. I think the people that voted for Asiwaju were not necessarily people supporting APC. They were people supporting Asiwaju, and all of those relationships is and everything he has against them. He has a lot of leverage against a lot of those political cabals. That's why he was able to make it. If we look at the last 8 years record of APC, there's nobody that's going to vote for that. No one's going to vote for that. Right? It better have been Tinubu, right? It had to have been Tinubu. Hold on one second. Shout out to Brand New to Food. Good evening to Miss Olatunji too. Yeah, so this is not business as usual. There's going to be a lot of behind the scenes conversation. A lot has changed. A lot has been accomplished. Okay, over the past 10 months. Let's keep going.
All the states of PDP are elections that are local. It has nothing to do with and let me say this just before you ask your question. Maybe PDP is getting certain things wrong. The ovation, the tailwind is for Obio. It's not for PDP. It's not for PDP. Let us deceive ourselves. That was
the noise. You see what he's saying? This is Fireshare. This is a major human being inside of PDP, right? It's still in PDP. It's saying all the noise you're hearing is for OB. It's not. I don't think it's for the obedience, as you say. Okay, it's not for Labour Party either. Did you know that Labour Party always existed before Obi? Maybe you didn't know. It always existed. It was Mimiko and them that was in Labour Party, right? Don't get it twisted. It's the new movement. It's the End SARS movement. Okay, it's the young people. Okay, don't get it twisted. They just happen to have housed themselves in Labour Party right now. Watch it. There might be change of names and things like that going on very soon too. But pay attention that the political landscape in Nigeria is no longer the same, ever. It will never be the same again. Let's keep going.
I was telling them, Obi, if these people, the PDP had believed in you, why did they not give you this ticket?
They didn't believe in him, so they didn't give him the ticket. Why didn't they believe in him? Because they were operating with old time rules, right? Atiku has a better chance. That's something that APC did not fall for. Right? Imagine if they gave the ticket to what's his name? What's the name of this guy? The guy from Rivers. Forgot his name. Or any of those ones. Or Fashion. Any of those ones, right? That are ministers right now, right? APC would have failed woefully. They knew what they were doing when people were saying Asiwaju bought his way through. Yeah, of course he bought his way, but also he had some what do you call it? He had some things to back it up, right? Not Wike, the other one, the one with the mustache. Not Wike, the one that's rival with it's a minister, it's minister of transport or something like that right now with Buhari. Forgot his name. Rotimi Amechi. Imagine if APC gave the ticket to Rotimi Amechi, right? What do you think we'll be talking about today, right? They knew exactly what they were doing, and it's not easy. It's not easy to determine like that, right? Because again, there's a massive shift in times, in generation that's going on. And we can see that obviously in the numbers, right? You can see that in the numbers, you know.
And the national chairman
for real, shout out to
Labour
you.
Party now sat together, doing press conference together. They only want to rub off on Obio. They want to stain him.
You know,
Obi is now the man of the moment. He should run away from PDP. And let me say this, from today.
Your own party.
I'm saying it, and I want to make this statement. From today.
Watch this.
I stay off PDP from today. From today,
when you say
I'm making this announcement.
Is that a resignation?
He literally denounced his own party.
In party politics. Because there are certain facts you must be able to. I'm 62. You must get to a particular age. Look at Tobias now. He's white, but it's not by age.
He literally denounced his own party on that stage today.
Not be juju be that.
Right? If he didn't see something, isn't that political assassination or suicide, right? He sees something. I don't think you're going to find too many people that will be speaking the truth like this, okay? He's going to tell you more why he's doing it.
I shaved mine. I can't at this age start
It's
lying.
62 years. He can't start lying.
What's wrong with your family? Confess.
Former Governor Fayoshe, you've always been blunt.
He said he can't start lying. Politicians are lying like 5 and 6. Well, particularly with respect to how you define lying, because sometimes optics is everything. You have to say certain things certain way, to look a certain way, to inspire the populace in a certain direction, and you call it lies, right? They call it selective honesty, right? And you're like, oh no, she does tell us the truth, but they know that this is a game at the end of the day, and no, you can't just tell random stupid truths without paying attention to who is receiving the truth. Are they receiving it as truth? Are they receiving it the way I want them to receive it? And you call it, listen, there's a lot more. It's called politics for a reason. Okay? This is political now. Okay? That's why I say if you're not ready for the conversation, don't enter the conversation because you go just cry wolf. You're making noise about fairness when we're talking about people, power exchanging hands. Yes, in democracy too. I don't know what you think this was, but this is no child's play.
Governor is governor.
Yes, you're right. And there's something about you that a lot of Nigerians like, being blunt. And again, it seemed as if you had a sixth sense sometimes to project and talk about some political readings. Did you see the outcome of this election before it was called?
My brother, I issued on my Twitter handle, even in the month of, was it January or December, I warned the PDP that this problem, if not resolved, will consume this party.
Yeah, and it did.
I told them there is danger ahead. Watch it. I was invited by His Excellency Atiku Abubakar to his hotel in Lagos. I told him 4 things. There were 4 demands they made of you.
Mm-hmm. What were those?
1, you will be 76. You were 76 last year. The G5 said, now you are already candidates. We can't have bought a child that has been given.
Anyway, so that's that. Yeah, I think is interesting, you know. Listen, you want to listen. I'm learning along the way with you, but some of these things, power dynamics is something I understand before. So as they move, it's aligning with things I already know, right? Because human behavior is human behavior. Humans gravitate towards power, not fairness. Okay, I don't know if you listen to what I just said. Okay, listen to what I just said. Humans gravitate towards power, not fairness. Okay, yes, sometimes they'll say fairness out of their mouth, but they're just looking to be closer to where they have better advantage. It's as simple as that. A lot of them don't understand it from a power dynamics. Narcissistic behaviors, precisely. It's all selfish. People only care about their own feelings about these issues. Okay, even at any level, either you're talking business, you're talking politics, you're talking about personal level relationships, people only care about their feelings. They might call it different names, label it different things. Sometimes they label it as logic. Irony is a lie. Okay? It's just lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. At the end of the day, they want what they want. Humans, all of us, okay? Oh yeah, but I just want to be better and do better, and I feel like other people should benefit, all those poor people. Okay, let me slow down. It's true, some of them feel that way, but it's their personal feelings. It makes them feel better when they feel like they're contributing to other people's lives. Okay? What is 6 basic human needs here? 6 basic human needs. Let me find it. Why am I scrambling these days? I have too many stuff. Okay, there you go. 6 basic human needs. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Number 6, contribution. It's a human basic need. It's your personal need. Yes, other people may benefit from it when you are able to give to other people. I'm not discounting that. It's a beautiful thing to be able to contribute to other people's lives. But at an emotional level, there's a benefit for you. I just need you to be aware of that. That's all. So that you don't come out here and say, I did this for that, I did that for that person, I did this, I did that. That's narcissistic traits already playing out. I did this, I did, like you did, okay, you did. Okay, at some point it's disconnecting. They're not getting that you did anything. So can you calm down? There's a disconnect. There's a disconnect, right? It's not connecting. Whoever you're trying to serve, they're not, right? So it's time to pay attention to the fact that you're getting your own feelings satisfied, but the other person is not feeling satisfied. And there's vested interest in making sure for you, you have vested interest in satisfying them. Obviously, that's why we're making noise. If not, if we just say, no feet, okay, let me keep it moving. That's why people do shalaye, because they start sounding like they're holier than thou, but the truth is that, they're just selfish, like the rest of us. Just something to be aware of. You're not going to change this. I just need you to be aware of it. Okay? Awareness is half the battle won. You will create less and less conflict when you understand these things. Okay? And even if there's conflict, you'll be able to react better. Right? Just look at the example of Peter Obi. Look at how he's been reacting to all of this in the past 72 hours. Right? Just pay attention to that. Does that help? Let me play some short videos for you here that I feel like it will lighten you up a little bit. I want you to get excited about the new Nigeria. Get excited, okay? Get out of your emotions. Your emotions, they're normal, okay? You're a human being like the rest of us, but get out of it. Pay attention to the outside of it a little bit, right? I want you to see things where they are. The reality right now, the reality today, now is that Asiwaju has been declared the president-elect, okay? But he was declared president-elect with 8 million, a little bit less than 9 million votes, okay? And his next runner-up is 8 million, and then there's a third force with 6 million. There's no way he's having that type of sleep that Buhari had 4 and 8 years ago. Okay, right now it's like looking over his shoulder. What's about to happen? They're about to sweep out all of those governors in office. If you don't get stuck in that emotions, you're about to get rid of all the APC and PTP governors all over the country, because there's going to be enough competent people that will be aligning with Labour Party. Okay, these are the things to pay attention to. The office of the president is not all it takes to take over the country. A lot of people were delusional about that. So maybe this is actually a setup to help Peter Obi win better later on, right? So that we have enough governors, enough people in the Senate representing the interest of the people, the obedience. Just something to pay attention to, that's all. Nenny, shout out to Nenny. Nenny says, Man of Prestige, well done. You're educating a lot of us. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. That means a lot. Shout out to all 32 of you listening to me. I appreciate you. Dealers of way, me, I don't cuckoo have immediate family for Nigeria. if they if they like, let them continue with this rubbish. Well, alright, D-Love. It's okay. Drink water, take a cold shower. Trust me, it will all be good. You know, it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. Let me see. Let me play these videos for you. You can't trust any of these guys, including Fayose, including Tinubu, right? You can't trust them. Now, trust them with what? Being holy. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't talk about that here. You can't trust Peter Obi with his capabilities of being able to negotiate what is there right now too. This could be actually a blessing in disguise, right? All these governors wiped out, a bunch of Labour Party senators. There's a few of them got replaced. It was a Labour Party person that beat Banky W, right? So maybe this is a setup. So by the time they actually declare him, either 4 years from now or maybe he wins the case, it's in a better position. Okay? You have to pay attention to the behind the scenes details, not the obvious stuff, which is we're all disappointed. He didn't win on election day. I get it. I understand. Okay? But let me play this video for you. Let me see. Where is that video? There you go. Let me see.
Here.
I won't come back because I know why they impeach you. They're very stingy. Even
this is a person speaking directly to Peter Obi. Okay, Peter Obi is sitting on the right and the guy asking the question, or I don't know, he's on the right. So listen to him carefully. This is how I know. This is why I can trust him better and better over time, because of this kind of answers.
I know why they impeach you. They're very stingy. Even people tell me, they think saying I made them impeach you. Now pitch or impeach, they do you. Which one they do you?
They remove me. Is that correct?
Now remove.
No, be say
but not true. Say you they stingy because I don't hear say you know they share money.
Not be stingy. There are people. There's difference between stingy and what they call prudence and accountability in managing public affairs. Okay, make I tell you, I don't talk before. They impeach me for 3 things. Number 1, office will be my office for governor. Will be my own office, so you hear me say before. They born and before I come, something happened in born. The house where they live, that be number 2. Something happened again in born. That office, yes. They had a problem. Some people just come. When I begin, that office, they get the budget where they approve to repair that office, 298 million naira. When I come and say we no get money, so I say, Oga, leave this office, make I take
98 million naira.
It cost me 43,200,000.
From 298
million. It cost me 43,200,000. They say, I know do and through do process. I say, wait, they order new table, but they get one governor where don't pass there. Where get table where they go keep some. I say, the table, not table. Make you bring this table. Police are here now.
Polish
them. Go take walk. Now it be the first offense.
Shebi.
Is that being stingy or being accountable? Is that being stingy or being frugal or being prudent? Right? Which one is it? Right? Listen. Whatever he just told us in this story doesn't tell us a lot. It tells us that he's maybe frugal, right? But it doesn't tell us that it's actually productive. That's one of the ways that I've seen people have these conversations. They just assume what he just said is productive. Just because something cost you half doesn't mean it's the most productive way to do it, right? But to be fair, in the Nigerian society, probably about 2/3 of that $98 million was going to be stolen. It's probably beefed up for people to steal. So I will give him that. So it makes sense that this kind of conversation will sell Nigerians because they're so used to their politicians stealing money all the time. But another way to look at it.
When I talk, when I tell
offense.
Your Excellency, hold on. When I talk, say you they stingy. People
stingy.
they look me. People they look me like say I just accuse you. Oh, now they see I'm now.
Not be stingy. Not be stingy. Not be stingy. We don't get the money. We don't get money, that's not be stingy. Number two.
Now how they see them?
Not be stingy. Number two, the house where they live, where they call government house. The budget said they go do everything, including buy. It go cost 486 million.
486 million naira. Jesus Christ.
I did everything with 81 million. They got the upper bed. They said they're importing bed.
All right. All right. He did everything with what? 81 million? Wait.
6 million to repair the house. I did everything with 81 million.
81 million.
They got the upper bed. They said they're
Is that not stingy? No be juju be that.
No juju be that.
From 486 million to 81 million naira. All right. So again, he's making a point. He said the state was broke, so there's no point spending that kind of money. So I would definitely give it to him. It's accountability, I think. But I can see how the Nigerian society, everybody's hungry. Either you're talking about the rich one or the one at the bottom of the pyramid. They're all hungry. So yes, it shows up differently. They're all hungry, right? So I can see why they can say this guy is stingy. We don't want to. Let's impeach him, right? He's given the reason why he was impeached twice as a governor, right?
Putting bed from outside. They're doing that. Said, I live for Oka. Person fit do bed for no bed in a bed. Not be not be for somebody to sleep.
Even
if you bring things when they go make you sleep. Even if they bring mattress from heaven, you no go sleep. So may they do bed here. I go to one man where they do bed there. He did the bed. And I was sleeping in it till I left.
You sleep well?
Well, very well.
But I don't appreciate this man.
So they can't join in that number two.
Let me say this before I forget. This is something that you should pay attention to, right? The same thing that you probably find attractive about a person, you might end up resenting them for that reason later on. Either we're talking relationships or in power, okay? The same thing that you find attractive about them may be the same thing you end up resenting later, okay? If you're a talker and you're like, she talks, we have fun and she's such a fly girl, eventually you might start resenting that she talks too much, okay? The same thing that they resented him for, which is managing money. Now they are trying to sell him. Now PDP is aligning with Labour Party, right? To sell the judicial system on the fact that the election was stolen by the ruling party. Are you paying attention to this? See, when you're judgmental and you're saying, just pick a side. See, this is why I don't just pick a side. I do pick sides, but I'm slow to picking sides. Because in these conversations, at least, right? I do pick sides in my regular life. But in this conversation, I'm slow to picking sides because I need to see where everyone is coming from. Okay? Oftentimes, there's no need for me to pick sides. It's like, hey, I just understand both of them, right? Right? So, you need to be able to see that everything in life is a double-edged sword. You can cut both ways. Now, they're appreciating him for being frugal. Okay? Now, everybody is talking about obedient. It was inconsequential, right? It was that guy was Obi. I still saw somebody on Instagram yesterday. So Obi is a boy. No. It was actually MC Oluomo's son saying Obi is a boy. That boy now is what 6 million votes of Nigerians. Ìgbéraga ló ń ṣíwájú ìparun. Pride comes before the fall. Just pay attention to that. Not just when you're talking about Tinubu, Asiwaju, and Obedient. In your personal life, pay attention to that. Some things that you don't appreciate right now, all it takes is for one little girl over there across the street to smile at your husband. You will start appreciating him extra, a little bit extra, right? Yoruba people say, and you're seeing this playing out in every facet of life right now.
They build what they call presidential lodge. Every state for Nigeria get presidential lodge for their state. So they award the contract in my place for almost 1 billion. So I stop and say, President no live in Oka. What thing would they build house for? They say, I said, no.
How much was that one?
Almost 1 billion. They don't
1
give us,
billion.
they bring the money. We are not building house for president. President no go live for Oka.
What do you think was going to happen to that money? They were going to try to build a house in Oka for president because president was going to visit what quote unquote the area, right? Account says yes, he may not be productive, but what Nigeria needs is to stop the bleeding in terms of cost of governance. True, with respect to Anambra, right? Exactly. I think I made that point, right? He was saying the state was broke, right? But yeah, they were trying to build a billion naira worth a house for the president. Listen to what he said.
You know, that time, after I stopped that one, President Obasanjo said he must come to Oka. They say he was in the I said no.
Wow,
Mr.
Obasanjo at the
won't
time.
come to Oka. Now you be president. Come in the morning, go in the evening. You know, they don't need to sleep. You get plane.
Abi.
But he said he will sleep. I said, okay. Since you come and sleep.
Last I heard that the whole of Nigeria is only 2/3 of the whole of the state of Texas in the United States, right? Nigeria is not that big. In our eyes, it's like the whole of Africa, but just think about that, right? He said you are president. You can go back home on the day you come to visit. Come in the morning, you leave in the evening. You have a plane, right? Now, of course, the question is that what do you think the rest of the other politicians were saying? They're like, this guy, we need to get rid of him, right? We need to get rid of him. That's what they were saying, right?
Me, I get house under my culture. If big man come your house, you come out.
You leave the house, right?
Yes. So I said, he stayed 3 days. I leave my own lodge. I said, come and stay here. Me, I go outside. When you go, come back. And that's what we did. And it was working. Number 3 item was say, are they safe?
You're saving.
I said from day one. You know, for Nigerian constitution.
Instead of giving all those millions to the politicians.
Anything where you get, you share.
For Nigerian constitution.
Quote me, there's no place in our constitution where they say saving. Everything must be shared. But I called my people and said, this money where we they get from oil for everything, not be for only this generation. It's for future, our children yet unborn. So anywhere we get money for this state, we go take 5%, put side. They say no. Say never do people where they are. So I said they say even some people say, waiting when the children come, anything they see. I said, when you go save. So these 3 items come make them say make I come out.
Make you come out.
But when the judges hear my
like,
case,
come and be going.
This man must come back.
God go bless those judges.
So they impeached him and then they brought him back. After he explained it to the judge. I don't know how that works in Nigeria, but you get the gist, right? Stinginess, accountability. How you see it depends on where you're standing. Okay? This is like everything else in life when I call them double-edged sword. How you see it depends on where you are standing. If you're in the diaspora, right now, you can't wait until tomorrow morning we wake up. They say, it was Obi all along. They stole it. You can't wait. Why? Because you're in the abroad. Right? But people that are not in the abroad, that are in Nigeria, are looking at things and like, that Obi guy, that guy was stingy like that. Oh, and he did borrow. Money no go there for street. Like, and then he said, this man no one make person chop money. Like, money will not be in the street because it's the politician money that becomes the economy. Sadly, because Nigeria doesn't produce anything. Well, you get the point. Nigeria is not producing enough to sell to the rest of the world. So it's not sustainable except if they steal money that they are borrowing from the rest of the world. That's what's going on, right? So how you see it, is it accountability or stingy? That person that you call stingy, you will appreciate them at other areas of your life when there's need for accountability. That's all I need you to pay attention to. That's all I need you to be aware about. Let me play this one last video.
Stingy.
You see,
it's not stingy. I go talk about stingy when we the end.
Your Excellency.
It's not stingy.
It's not stingy.
Public money.
Baba says it's not stingy.
Managed for public good. Whoever find himself in office, it is by grace of God. If you mismanage that office, you are abusing grace of God.
Yeah. So it's tricky. There's multiple sides to it. It's easy for an average person to look at these stories and say, yeah, he was saving money for us. Yeah. No, but he should spend the money. No, it's easy but it's not that simple. There's multiple variables. There's multiple things going on at the same time. And that's why you can bring fairness into it. Okay, precisely why. Because it's not a binary. It's not somebody who's doing the right thing, or it's either they're doing the right thing or they do the wrong thing. That's not how life doesn't work like that either. Okay, it just doesn't. Okay. Accounting says in Nigerian politics it's an investment, so they need to recover their investment, but he was blocking it. They had to take him out. That's another angle to it. I'm saving. It's not personal. You're saving. What do you mean saving? Saving for what? I think he even invested in some private stuff for the state, and it was just, a lot of people have a lot to say about that it was bad investments after the fact. I don't know the details of that. The point I'm making here is that we don't know. It depends. That's why either it was Tinubu or it was Atiku or it was Obi, they will need a strong team around them so that the blind spots they don't see, the other person can see at least, Yeah, I know what you meant, Neni. I know what you meant. Let me play this other video.
Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo, master of violence. What? Why did you dislike APC like this?
APC, the name of APC gives me so much trauma. So in APC government, everybody has become a thief, including animals.
You say what? In
APC government, everybody has become a thief, including animals.
But what exactly do they do now?
Stealing our money.
Ha! Who are those stealing our money? Let me report them to my lawyer.
You can imagine in APC government, we are witnessing termites eating documents.
Hey, you mean Ella?
What? Snakes becoming money eaters in APC government.
Ha! You mean snake where they bite?
Good.
But why did you leave APC after all that they did for you now?
I was in APC all this while. I did everything.
I know now. That is why I'm asking you. Why did you leave the party after all that they have done for you?
APC has done nothing for me personally. Have you ever seen me complain?
You say what?
APC has done nothing for me personally. Have you ever seen me complain?
Say you did why?
Okay. Say you did why me. Say, listen, I'm a little confused with what he just said. They have done nothing for me personally. Have you ever seen me complain? I'm not sure what he meant by that, right? He didn't mean to say they've done nothing to me personally. Have you ever seen me complain? Right? But I think this guy is highlighting the inconsistency in politicians in general. He's an actor too.
What?
Jesus is Lord.
But you have been in the party.
Nothing for me personally. Have you ever seen me complain?
Say you did why me?
What? Jesus is Lord.
But you have been in the party for your own personal interest and accreditation now.
You do not contemplate that I will enter politics for my self-aggrandizement.
You say what?
You do not contemplate that I will enter politics for my self-aggrandizement.
You cannot confuse me with big grammar. You cannot confuse me with big grammar. Let me invite my lawyer to come here. Jagaban. I beg no disgrace me. Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo want to confuse me with big grammar. Has Kenneth been collecting his conjugal swallows before he left APC?
What?
I know if I don't talk and 2 times, you know go hear me. Has Kenneth Okonkwo been collecting his conjugal swallows before he left APC? Conjugal swallows.
Oh no.
That's your new person to like.
This way they stammer like this. Are you sure you can rule this country?
Yes.
I mean, are you sure you can rule the whole Nigeria?
You say?
I mean, are you sure you can rule the whole Nigeria?
Not yet.
Why?
I'm still consulting.
Oh, chief consultant. So from where to where can you rule in Nigeria?
From Lagos to Ibadan.
From where to where?
From Lagos to Ibadan.
Maybe add on Enugu and Onitsha for you to rule.
And you don't expect more answers than that.
But I want to hear now.
You will soon hear all you want to hear.
So are you winning on social media the way Obi the win for social media?
I don't read social media anymore.
Why now?
They abuse hell out of me.
They abuse hell out of me.
But you're supposed to check what they happen for there now. At least make you they read them.
If I read it, I get high blood pressure.
Is that why you sue Sabinus to court?
Yes.
Hey, yeah. For the sake of our friendship, I beg, free, I beg.
Forget it.
Sir?
Forget it.
Yeah.
May God not allow them to kill you.
All right, welcome back. So, yeah, that was funny. I just wanted to end that. I think we have a president-elect now, so let's keep it moving. We have more topics to cover. Today, I have the story I want to cover right now. It's Nigerian man share why they regret getting married. I wanted to assess this. Then I have one more story, and then we might call it a day early today. So let me play this video for you, and then I'll analyze it, and then we'll take it from there. Just some lessons for today. Okay. Shout out to Glamola. Welcome. And
Nigerian men share why they regret getting married.
I didn't imagine that getting married would have me spending this much money. I've been married for over 4 years now, and from my 720,000 naira salary, I spend over 100,000 naira every single week taking care of both my nuclear family and my wife's nuclear family. I can't even begin to tell you how unhappy all of that makes me. I got married at 27, but I feel like I was not thinking about myself and my future when I did it. I got married because it seemed like the right thing to do after being with my high school sweetheart for almost 10 years. Now that we live together, everything appears normal, but deep down there are so many character traits she has that I wish I could change. Maybe those character traits are not enough ground for a divorce, but they are enough to reassess the whole essence of our marriage. Another thing that makes me regret getting married is money. I'd totally be a baller if I had all my income to myself, but I have to share. At the end of the day though, my kids make it all worth it. I've been married for less than 2 years, but I'm constantly looking for ways out of this marriage. My wife is never happy with me. We never even have any meaningful conversations unless I'm about to do something for her. I've tried coping with the lack of affection for almost 2 years now, but it doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. It also doesn't help that she exhibits extremely poor physical hygiene. That makes it two things I'm struggling to cope with. If I had my way out of the marriage this minute, I'd take that chance.
all right, do you have any advice for this? Sounds like a young man, right? Do you have any advice whatsoever for this person? I'm wondering if you have any advice for him before I get into my analysis of what he has to say. Yeah, a lot of people are just they're everywhere. Shine, bobo, characteristics of Rari. What is that? I feel like that's a song. I feel like I've heard that somewhere before. But yeah, I'm gonna analyze it and just let me see if I can pull it up a different way, because I don't want to have to play that music again. Because that guy, Nigerian man regrets ever being married. Okay, he regrets ever being married. Okay, so Nigerian man shares why they regret getting married. Okay, so he says, I didn't imagine that getting married would have me spending this much money. Now, I don't know what much money is. I don't know what much money is, but let's just keep going. I've been married for over 4 years now. And from my 720,000 naira salary. What is 720,000 naira salary? Today that would be $1,000. No, not $1,000. What am I doing? How do we do that? 720. Yeah, like the $1,000, right? 720,000 naira. Is that $1,000 for real? Jesus Christ. I think so. So anyway, from 720,000 naira salary, depends on the location, so it really doesn't matter, right? He spends, how much does he spend? He spends, I spend over 100,000 naira every single week. Taking care of both. Okay, so that's per month. In Nigeria, people usually say their monthly salary. So that's 720,000 naira. He spends 100,000 naira every single week taking care of both my nuclear family and my wife's nuclear family. What does that mean? You mean the extended family? By the way, your wife's old nuclear family is now your extended family, is now your wife's extended family, just like yours. So, like for example, if you're married and your husband, you're married as a man and you still have your parents, right? They are no longer your nuclear family, okay? You shall live to cleave. They are now considered extended family. It is not a curse. It is not an indictment. It is simply what it is. And if you keep thinking of them as nuclear family, it will drive the way you move, the way you react to things. It will drive your sense of responsibility, your priorities, okay? And you will collect woto, if that's how you think. Okay? All right, so he says, I spend over 100,000 naira every single week on my wife, on my nuclear family and my wife's nuclear family. So right there already, it tells me that this is a person that's not very resourceful. They don't know how to manage their resources. Not because they are overspender, not because they're spending it on Gucci belts, because they simply are not resourceful. Some of the most unresourceful people you know are not lavish spender. They're just kind of slow, okay? That's why they would continue to conflict being a good guy with being a leader, right? Being a leader, being a good guy doesn't mean you're a good leader, right? Being a good leader means you understand you're responsible for managing your resources, right? So if you're making 720,000 naira per month and you're spending 100,000 naira every week on two families, right? That's 400,000 going to, I don't know what your percentages in your incomes are. I don't know what that is, but it's your responsibility to manage your resources. Let's keep going, right? I can't even begin to tell you how unhappy all of that makes me, right? Let's see. Welcome. Please share your thoughts as I'm going through it. Okay. All right. Then he goes on to say, all right, I got married at 27, but which, by the way, you're a full grown man at 27. Sometimes when people say I got married at 27, they're saying that so that you can give them some out, so that you can say, you were so young. No, you were not young. You were a full-blown grown man. There's some room for growth. Yes, the rest of your life, right? So 27 is not a pass. That you are so young that you're not going to be held accountable for your decisions, right? So saying that I'm young compared to a 35-year-old man is not a cop out. You don't get to use that. As a matter of fact, that's always going to be true until you leave this life. You're going to continue to be a responsible man until you leave this world, right? So there's room for growth for the rest of your life. Okay, let's keep going. So I got married at 27, but I feel like I was not thinking about myself and my future when I did it. I got married because it seemed like the right thing to do. Well, people, the way he just said that, it's like, don't just get married. Like there's a person that's quick to advise now. They'll say, don't just get married. Just because people are getting married. Well, when we were 8 months old, we started walking just because, literally. Okay. We started walking because we saw people around us walking on two legs at the age of 8 months old. And you say, you know what, I can walk on two legs too. And then you stumbled a couple of times and then you started walking, right? When it was time to start talking at the age of 2.5 to 3.5 years old, you started talking because you've heard enough people talk around you. And you start talking, right? Just because. What is wrong with just because? Why is it that we need extra reasons to do what we naturally do as human beings, either naturally or from a nurture standpoint, right? Why is it that people are having a hard time with that? I know why. Because other people use it to shame you, so you have a need to push back at. You don't have to use that to push back. Listen, you got married because we have a need to reproduce, to keep a legacy going, right? It's not something you decided. Obviously, we were created that way. That's why you do carry well with the person and then you have babies, okay? So not only that, there's a clock around it. Either you're a man or woman, by the way, there's a clock around it. It doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, okay? Yet the woman one is more spelled out, pronounced, you can see it. Yeah, I know that. I get it, okay? But that has nothing to do with nothing. The last thing you want to be doing at the age of 80, if you are a typical person, is having babies, okay? So there you have it. So I got married because it seemed like the right thing to do. Yeah, I see how you framed that so that you should have been more intentional. No, stop the cap. Okay? Stop the cap.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
You're not that intentional, okay? It's just what human beings naturally do, okay? The marriage part of it is social construct, granted. But the idea that you're getting with another person of the opposite gender to have babies is natural. Why? How do I know? Because it creates children. You don't control that, right? You don't control all the mechanisms that create that. It's just something that happens as part of the human species, right? Or just animals, higher animals now, right? But anyway, let's keep going. To do. After being with my high school sweetheart for almost 10 years. Now, I can see that. If you've been with somebody for 10 years, you start to have a need that, you want to marry them. But you're also supposed to be, this is the part where you're supposed to be intentional. If you're staying with them for that long, right? A part of you might feel like, I want to marry this person because I've been with them for 10 years. Or you could say, I don't want to be with them. I don't see myself with them for the rest of my life. And it could be 10 years, it could be 9 years. Yes, people are going to be around you and tell you that you're being evil. Okay? It is what it is. Hold on 1 second, I bet. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's see. So 10 years, right? So I can see that 10 years has been 10 years. I feel the need, I feel obligation. But let me share something with you, okay? Maybe for the first time. This guy is not abnormal, okay? A lot of people feel that way. But the events in your life, you get to attach meanings to it. That's the truth, okay? So what do I mean by events? Case in point, you've been with a girl for 10 years, right? You get to decide if you think that's a bad deal or it's a good deal, right? You can also say, you know what, I don't, strictly from a feeling standpoint, I don't see myself with this person. And you can honorably bow out and be okay with the lashback. Yes, of course there's going to be lashback, because why didn't you tell her 2 years in, 3 years in? But life happens. You just didn't see it that way. But now you're having serious doubts, and it's better that you cut it off right now than to get into it 2 years later, 3 years later, and then it's becoming an issue, right? Something to pay attention to, right? So he says 10 years. They were together 10 years. So this is part of the reasons why he felt the need to do the right thing, right? Just life. All right. All right, sorry about that. It seemed like the right thing to do. Let me see. I'm searching for the next slide here. Now that we live together, everything appears normal, but deep down, there are so many character traits she has that I wish I could change. Welcome to the real world, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, when you are in a marriage, right, there are going to be character traits, right, that you wish you could change. But that could also be a function of your interpretations, right? Remember the story we just covered, stingy, accountability. That same thing that you might be resenting about your partner right now may end up being what you might find extremely useful later. You might be able to suppress the effect of it in your situation if you pay a little bit more attention to what you like about them, right? What do we tend to do? We tend to pay more attention to the things we don't like about our partner. It's not your fault. It's not just you. It's the rest of us. It feels maybe she chew like too loud or something like that. Your mind just is connecting with that all the time, right? But there's a reason why you got with this person in the first place. And now, especially that you're not being intentional, you're completely disconnected from that. But if you're aware, if you have some emotional intelligence, you realize that this is your emotion playing tricks on you as well, right? And you can say, oh yeah, she chew like that, but I didn't notice. That's kind of cute. The meanings you attach to the events in your life, the crisis, the conflicts, it's completely up to you. But I'm not going to front. It's very hard if your mindset is shut. It's very hard if you're not aware that this is an emotional thing, right? So now that we live together, everything appears normal, but deep down, there are so many character traits she has that I wish I could change. Maybe those character traits are not enough ground for a divorce. First of all, character traits, what do you mean? That's not specific enough. What do you mean? Right? She doesn't kneel down for your mother like a good Omoluabi is supposed to. What are we talking about? Like, what's the specifics of it? What's character? Or she's just rude, obnoxious, right? She's unruly. She just doesn't know how to talk to people. She calls you annoying out of nowhere sometimes, and that hurts you. That makes you feel some type of way, right? We need to be specific so we can help you address that, okay? Because no matter how little it is, yes, it can absolutely create divorce. It's just that it won't seem like that's what created it. You will find if you look around you, there's more than enough excuses, more than enough things you can complain about, just about life in general. And you will find them if you allow that one little thing that's hurting you to slide without addressing the root cause of it. Not the thing itself, but the root cause of it. Because if she chews way too loud, maybe that's the way she's always been. I'm not sure if you can change that, right? It depends on what we're talking about. That's the word that every one of us were scared of. It depends. Depends on what? I need exact science answers. But let's keep going. But they're enough to reassess the whole essence of our marriage. Or maybe it's not about the marriage. Maybe this is you personally and your attitude about life. Maybe it's about the marriage. Well, we can make it all about the marriage if you want. It's up to you. It's actually literally up to you. Okay? Because we're talking about character traits, meaning you're almost talking about things that you can't change, but you always knew was there too in the first place. All right? I'm getting through it. Another thing that makes me regret getting married is money. I'd totally be a baller. Baller. This is what D-Lo was talking about. Right? I told be a baller if I had all my income to myself. Normal human beings don't really want all their income, including women, boss ladies that are making all the money right now. People want to be able to enjoy whatever they're earning with the people they love the most. That's the only time they question that is if they're not feeling good about the situation much longer. Right? People literally have a need to contribute into other people's lives. I said that earlier, right? So the idea that you will be a baller and what you hate the most about this is your income could have been to yourself. Maybe you're just weird like that. That's a weird outlook on life. I want to make all my money and keep it to myself. When there are people that will absolutely trade places, they will spend all that salary to trade places with you. Right? We're social beings, we're emotional beings. Long before we need to be transactional. Everybody's transactional, right? No, it's not a transaction. It's because he's feeling some type of basic needs. It's never been about money. If it looks like it's about money, it's because it's feeling a basic need at a fundamental level. Maybe it makes them feel secure, right? At the end of the day, though, my kids make it all worth it. Are you sure? You sound like those words are disconnected from your mindset. My kids are making it all worth it. He says, I've been married for less than 2 years. It's been just 2 years, but they've been together for 10 years. It's been 2 years, but I'm constantly looking for ways out of this marriage. Yeah. In this case, you need a little bit more examples of people who had something that was precious and they lost it. Those are the people you might need to connect with if you're feeling this way, right? We all take for granted things that are readily available. So right now you're inside of the marriage, it feels like see finish, character traits, she's rude, all this kind of stuff. So every time you experience some kind of character trait flaw, you're looking for an exit sign. Yeah, that's almost equivalent to the grass is greener on the other side. If I could just have all my money to myself and be balling for the rest of my life all by myself. But wait, my kids are all worth it. Which one is it? Are you confused? Maybe being confused is part of your problem. Because as a man, you want to be sure of yourself. Okay? You don't want to be not sure of yourself. Okay? It's probably a good reason, a good way to also attract a very unruly, disrespectful woman to yourself too. It's a probably good. Listen, you don't attract disrespect to yourself unless you lack self-respect. Let's be honest. If that's what we're talking about, because oftentimes when people talk about character traits, they're talking about disrespect, right? That's disrespectful? What do you mean? What did she say? Did you tell her you don't appreciate that? How many times have you told her that? Or you were just barking at the top of your lungs like, don't say that to me ever again. I'm the boss of this house. We're going to see a good example of that in a second here, okay? Never happy with me. We never even have any meaningful conversations unless I'm about to do something for her. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. It sounds terrible. It sounds terrible. She's wrong. I know, she's wrong. She should be able to do better. I know. Since we got that out of the way, you're right. She's wrong. Okay? But let's get back to you, the most important thing. Right? The price of this equation. Let's get back to you. Man or woman? You're the price, right? Why is it that this person deem it profitable, gainful, right? Rewarding to treat you this way? That's a question you need to ask yourself. Why? Two. Let's just break it down to two. Either they're just being straight up evil, right? Treating you this way, or they're getting some kind of benefits. They're oblivious. They can't see that they're treating you that way, right? Essentially, I'm asking you, how are you enabling this behavior? He says, I've tried coping with the lack of affection for almost 2 years now. Now we're talking. Kozikerewa for 2 years. No be juju be that.
No be juju be that.
Yeah. So now we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Slowly but surely, right? See, there's no way. Listen, I keep telling you, if you can find your way to Kerewa, everything will be fine. But finding your way to Kerewa is nobody's mate, especially if there's a breakdown and it hasn't happened for a while. You know that awkward energy that's extremely hard to break through, right? Anyway, but it doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. So it's not going to end anytime soon. I heard nothing about seduction. I heard nothing about attraction, right? This is just so it's okay to assume that he's thinking that this woman is just being evil. she's punishing me with kerewa, right? Well, I mean, that's the natural direction your mindset will go. Your feelings, right? Like in 2 years, it doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. What have you done about it? Right? You shouldn't have to do anything about it. It's duty and responsibility. She should just submit. Submit these kpekus. Right? Submit the kpekus to me on a daily basis. Right? Is that really how that works? I'm buying sorrow and auntie. Is that how that? Just submit it to me every morning or evening, whichever one. Late night, evening, blah blah blah. All right, so a lot of men are struggling at this. Not just 2 years in marriage. A lot of men, 15, 20 years in marriage, this is their mindset. So when they feel like it's duty and responsibility and you're not submitting it, now they start to feel like, they feel unwanted. That's one. That's attraction right there, right? But they never want to talk about the attraction and the seduction aspect of things. It should have been just duty, responsibility. Never mind that she might have some issues that she's dealing with. It could actually be medical, right? But have we asked the question, what's going on, babe? What's going on? Like, I love being intimate with you. What's going on? I don't want to talk about that right now. I understand. When do you want to talk about it? Let's talk anytime you want to talk about it. I'm all ears. I promise. I'm not judging. I just want to make sure you're good, right? Oh, you're not used to talking like that. You've been trying to ask for duty and responsibility. And then you find out, it doesn't work like that too.
He shock you.
It's not just women. There are men that are not attracted to their woman. And you're not going to shame them into suddenly becoming attracted to you. That's not how that works. That's why it's called attraction. You don't control it. You can influence it. You don't get to control it. What's the difference? You can't snap your finger for things to go back to where they were. You have to respect time, patience, and then you have to add value to that. What do you mean by value? This is a marriage. She should have. Okay, this is the problem. So we're talking about your own definition of value. Never mind what she feels is valuable, especially at an emotional level, right? These are the conversations that your head should be thinking about. It also doesn't help. I'm reading a quote. It also doesn't help that she exhibits extremely poor physical hygiene. Well, she's probably not feeling sexy, right? She probably doesn't feel like cleaning up because she's already determined that it's not going to happen. Just like you, she probably gave in already too, right? Or maybe she was just like that. But again, this is your wife, right? Again, the grass is greener on the other side syndrome, right? The other chicks that are smelling good at work in the break room and all that, so your mind is fantasizing about all of that, right? You go collect. Anyway, let's keep going. If there's poor physical hygiene, it takes one conversation, one solid conversation. It's gonna be not a comfortable conversation because you don't want to hurt her feelings. You don't want to push her even further away. You're afraid, but you're already not getting the kpekus. What's the point? You might as well have the conversation, babe. God damn, the breath is kicking, man. What's going on? What do you mean? Hey, what more? She's talking. Okay, babe. I'm just saying. Wait, I can't tell you if your breath is kicking. What kind of nonsense is that? Okay, it's kicking. Yeah, Jack, let's go and shower together. Actually, I've wanted to shower together with you for a long time. Now, I don't know. I've been stressed out. I just feel like No, it won't around. It won't kinikon. Listen, it's a tough conversation. It's not easy, especially if you waited for so long. Okay? But again, if you pay attention to time, patience as a process, value, right? Influence, right? Then we could talk about seduction, right? Then you can actively seduce your partner back into your own arms. Doesn't matter if it's a man or woman, right? Why would you want to do that? Because the grass only seems greener on the other side. It's because somebody is watering it or it's fake. Okay, four corner booty. Let's continue. That makes it two things I'm struggling to cope with. Again, you're thinking of it as you're coping with because you think the grass is greener on the other side. Don't wait until he shock you before you find out that the grass is not greener on the other side.
He shock you.
Listen, you can wait if you want, but it might be too late by the time you're trying to run back to your own party. Oh, wait, we're not talking politics. Before you run back to your partner. Okay? There's so many ways to have this conversation, this physical hygiene conversations with you just have to be willing, be open to ask first, right? If they used to smell nice, they don't smell nice no longer, or it's because you left Nigeria and now you went back to Nigeria, your wife seems like it's not what you always thought about, then it's time to educate from a loving place, right? Like, babe, I bought you this, I think you try it out. You might like some other ones, by the way. I'm going to show you where I got them from, right? You ease in little conversation, babe. Maybe no. Oh, maybe no, right? You know I love you, right? Listen, I love it when that area is smelling really, really nice. Right? You don't focus on the fact that it smells really, really bad. You want to focus on it smells really bad, you will multiply it. That's what will happen. She will feel completely terrible about that. But if you focus on how you love it when it's smelling really, really nice, she might even pick it up really quickly as long as you don't fall for it too soon, right? She might even pick it up that you're trying to tell her something, but you say, no. I'm just, listen, man, I'm just trying to get it on with you, you know, that's all. Right? You don't go there and say, I just gotta be honest. I want to be honest and tell her that the pickles they smell. Because the honesty is the best policy.
That is God.
May God forgive you. Anyway, let me get through this. If I had my way out of the marriage this minute, I'd take your choice. I believe him. But again, Owani Langbila Ruge, this is a person who doesn't know how to manage. It's basically the parables of the talent. You don't know how to manage your own resources, so your thinking is better on the other side. Okay? You just collect. For the most part, okay? That's what's going to happen. So if I had my way out of the marriage this minute, I'll take that chance. Yeah. Anyway, so that was that. Let me see what you guys are talking about before I go on to the next and last story of the day. Yeah, hit that like button. Thank you. Hit that like button. Accountant says maybe she's unhappy due to her family problems, so he tries to make an effort to bring joy into her life. As they say, happy wife, happy life. Yes, this is where every ideology will be broken down at some point. At the end of the day, as a man, you're responsible for managing your resources. How do you manage your resources? It might include you raising money by other means. Like, hey, this is how much salary is coming to my household. As a man, I take joy in taking care of my family. And yes, potentially sometimes extended family. Yes, sometimes too. Yes, especially if it's going to make my wife happy. But I don't get to use that excuse to not know how to manage my resources. It's my responsibility. And sometimes you can raise money by other means. You can raise money for the family if it's really that bad. You can help a person, a son, a younger brother of your wife. You can help them secure a job. You can give them opportunities as opposed to you feeding them. All of this kind of stuff is supposed, if you're a healthy person, will make you feel better as a person. Make you feel even better than the person yesterday. But you're using this as an excuse to want to exit your marriage. Okay, your problem is deeper than that, you know. But good point. Happy wife, happy life. Any ideology, it gets to a point it hits a peak. Like you can't keep saying that and and creating terrible results for yourself. You're responsible for your results, especially as a man. Shout out to D'Souza. Hey D'Souza, hit that like button, I beg. Yup, 27 is a full-grown man. My 27-year son does manage and lead his new home so maturely. He makes me proud. That's awesome to hear. Miss Glamola. Hello, my people. I miss you. Hey, Eunice. Clean Kwekus. I hadn't heard that in a while. What's Olakajambo? You give me a name. Persuade her to take a bath with you. Treat her gently. You will get result. Yes, take a bath. Couples, every couple should be taking bath. Should be bathing together. Right? Every couple. Right? Not every day. Okay? every now and then you should do it. Okay. As a matter of fact, if you want to have a really, really good experience before you do the do's, before you do kerewa, take a shower together. Make it a full-blown experience. I've been saying that too, right? There's a thin line between honesty and foolishness. Thank you. Exactly, accounting. Exactly. Ola, don't delete me tonight with your honesty talk. I promise. I promise. I won't. Let's see. So I'm gonna go on to this second story. It's a big celebrity story right now. It's trendy right now. I'll be right back. All right, let's talk about Drew and Ralph Sidora, or Ralph and Drew Sidora. She's an actress. She used to be an actress. She's now a reality TV star on Housewives of Atlanta, the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And there's a story that broke out just a few hours before I started the show. It's a divorce story. So I figure we should just get into it because, listen, man, some of the best lessons will come from this broken down marriages, sadly. Okay, so let's look at the story. I'm also going to play a very interesting video of them. Okay, I'm also going to play a very interesting video of them having a conversation during something that was supposed to be a romantic dinner, and then the whole thing end up in the poto. But anyway, let me first of all read this. This is the news today. It says Sidora and Pittman. Okay, let me go to the beginning. It says Real Housewives of Atlanta star Drew Sidora's husband Ralph Pittman files for divorce after nearly 9 years of marriage. 9 years is that mark. 9 years is that place where at least one side is looking at things and saying, is this worth it? I have the rest of my life. And the other person is completely oblivious. And they're like, no, we're just going to keep fighting. And after all, that's what you do in marriage. After all, marriage is hard. This is why I push back against the rhetoric that marriage is hard. I know what people mean when they say that, but I want people to be careful when they say that. Marriage is not supposed to be hard. Okay? Marriage is not supposed to be hard. But anything that's worthwhile in life will test you. If that's what you mean, then you're correct. Okay, everything that's worthwhile in life does not come easy. That's why everyone don't have access to what is worthwhile. So if you think marriage is worthwhile, a good marriage, a happy life with a person that you love to death, and you guys are doing life together, if you think that's worth something, you should also understand that there's going to be pushback from, what do you want to call it, the enemy? You want to call it there's going to be pushback from you can call it the enemy, you can call it the devil, you can call it yourself, right? There's going to be pushback. It's going to be tough. It's like diamond, right? You have to take anything that's worthwhile in life will have to go through some type of pressure that almost want to destroy it. All right? Will actually probably destroy it all the way to the foundation, and then you have to build a brand new foundation. Hopefully you're lucky enough to be with the same person. I happen to be lucky. We had to build a brand new foundation, but I just happen to be lucky that it's with the same person. Okay, a lot of times it's with another person. You call that divorce, right? But hopefully you've learned your lesson, and before you build something with another person, you've actually taken the time to heal, okay, and understand that pointy fingers doesn't help. Okay. Anyway, so he's filed divorce 9 years after of marriage. Unfortunately, we have made difficult decision to move on. Now, and I quote, unfortunately, we have made a difficult decision to move on to our next chapters. Pittman shared exclusively with People after filing to divorce Sidora. That's the husband, Ralph. He filed to divorce Drew. the girl, okay, whom he married in August 2014. The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Drew Sidora and Ralph Pittman, are officially ending their marriage. People can exclusively confirm. That's People magazine, right? Shout out to people. I'm on people.com right now. And I quote, "Love is a beautiful thing," Pittman 37 said in an exclusive statement to People. "Unfortunately, we have made the difficult decision to move on to our next chapters. Independent of each other, Drew and I have decided to file for divorce. We have 3 amazing young children, and their mindset and growth is what is most important. As we navigate these difficult times, I ask that you please respect our privacy." That's a very nicely well put together public relations statement. This is not how they feel right now. Don't get it twisted, okay? This is not how they feel right now. But this is a very nice PR statement to put out, okay? It makes sense. According to documents obtained by People, Pittman's petition for divorce was received on Monday. People also obtained documents that confirm Sidora 37 lodged her own divorce petition an hour before Pittman. Wait, she lodged her own divorce petition just an hour. So there was probably some kind of heated argument. I'm going to go for a divorce. I'm going to go, okay, we're going to go today. Or it could be a situation where they've been fighting for so long, they're too tired. And like, yeah, we should just go ahead and do it today. I don't see the future. It could be any one of those things. More likely, an argument, okay? Pittman listed the couple's separation date as February 19. Today is what? Okay, that's some 2 weeks ago or so. Maybe a week ago. While the Game actress, she used to be on The Game. That's where I remember her from, the sitcom show. While the Game actress claims they have been separated since last Thursday, February 23. Okay, so it's been a few days since they've been separated, right? Something terrible must have happened. They're not revealing. Though documents from Pittman request joint legal and physical custody of their children. Wait. Pittman is requesting joint legal and physical custody of their children. Sidora's petition knows that there is no chance or hope of reconciliation between the spouses. So she's saying there's no chances of reconciling. Okay, that's all right there. Sidora and Pittman married in August 2014. They later welcomed son Makai in June 2015 and daughter Anaya in February 2018. The That's So Raven alum, so she was in That's So Raven too. Interesting. Alum also has an 11-year-old son, Josiah, from a previous relationship. Okay. There was also a lot of drama around this son with the father. She wanted him to forcefully adopt this baby, even though the father is still present. All that kind of stuff, man. Many of the couple's marital woes leading up to their divorce were chronicled on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Last year, Sidora discovered a suspicious text message between her husband and his female assistant, who was later fired. Finding out my husband was getting, and I quote, "Finding out my husband was getting close with his assistant was really hard for me," she said on the show. "I packed up my kids and we went to Chicago. I literally ran away from home." Right? Sidora also said she wanted Pittman to respect the relationship. That's her. Ain't she lovely? That's going to be somebody else's now. Or he's going to be somebody else's. Whichever one, right? All right. So, Real Housewives of Atlanta castmates also took with Kenya Moore, calling Pittman so disrespectful as he faced accusations of gaslighting his wife. Me self, I'm gaslit. You're basically saying that she's lying and how it happened was not how it happened. Well, you weren't there, Kenya, but people have different, I've been saying that here, people can have different experiences in the same event, especially when it's purely emotional. You said this, I said that, you made me feel this way, I made you feel that way. If that's all we're talking about, people can absolutely have two different experiences, and to each other they feel like one seems like the other person is lying. Unless somebody was physically touched in that way, you're going to have to look at the evidences, the physical evidences, right? Moore, a 52-year-old that's Kenya Moore, told Pittman in a 2022 episode, that will piss me the F off if somebody said to me to my face, especially if I'm hurting. Okay, they're talking about the text messages, right? You didn't see what you saw. You saw what you saw. So text message is a different thing, especially if there's screenshots, physical evidence, right? Do you not understand that? Again, that's them. Despite the challenges, Sidora told BET last June that the pair planned to continue fighting for their marriage. Fighting for the marriage is not, yeah, that's something that scares the shit out of me, okay? If you have to fight for your marriage over extended period of time, it's probably not working, right? Instead, I prefer, if that, again, semantics, right? Granted. But if that means you break everything down to the bone, down to the foundation, and you rebuild back up on a clean slate, then yes. Fighting for your marriage, that one a struggle love. I'm just warning you right now. No, we keep fighting for it. Oh no, marriage is a fight. Marriage is hard. If you keep saying things like that to yourself, don't be surprised if you end up attracting that reality. For me, it's been 15 years. Marriage is not a fight. It's not do or die. It's not hard. Okay, we've had moments that it felt like it was hard. But the idea that it's just hard and it's just a hard thing, you're just always pulling teeth, you're just always fighting this devil, like, nah, bro, that's not sustainable. At least not for me, okay? I gotta speak for myself. I thought it was, let me make sure that I'm not talking to myself. Speaking of speaking to myself, okay. Let's just make sure that I'm not talking to myself. Okay, awesome. Okay. All right. So despite their challenges to do, okay, they plan to fight for their marriage. I thought it was like Cinderella, like a happily ever after. And I quote, she's saying, I thought it was like Cinderella, like a happily ever after. And so we thought that's what it was going to be, she said. My parents, who have been married for like 60 years, made it look so easy. They made it look so easy. I'm in a situation where we have children, we are moving to a new city, life is happening, and people are growing as well as changing. She continued, it's hard because sometimes you're like, do I need to stay in this marriage or am I better off by myself? Then I think to myself, when two people commit and you keep committing to each other, what can we do to fix this? You're switching counselors to find the right one, but see, why would anybody be switching counselors? Okay, just think about that. Why would you need to switch counselors? I get it. Sometimes you can relate with how certain counselors talk or how they relate with you. I get it. But oftentimes it's because you're thinking the counselor is going to do the fixing for you. And no one else is going to do that work except you. They can help you. They're a support system. They can help you. They can be a great support system. Support systems are better from counselors to counselor, from coach to coach, from therapy to therapy. Yes, they can be better than each other. But ultimately, you're going to have to do the work. That's the reality. Okay? Ultimately, you're going to have to do the work. Does that make sense? Let's see. But we're committed, and I think that's what keeps people together. Sidora, commitment. So this is one thing that people say to each other. There's a lot of talking points that people think what keep people together. The only thing, in my opinion, listen, you can disagree with me. Feel free to disagree with me, okay? What keeps people together is friendship, okay? Friendship. Commitment, oftentimes, commitment is also extremely helpful, by the way, might I say. However, oftentimes, one person is feeling more committed than the other person. In that moment, what do you have left? When you are feeling you are the only one that's committed to it, the other person is not feeling committed. What else do you have in those moments? Because in that moment, if you feel like the other person, if it's really that simple, if you feel, yes, feelings that the other person is not as committed, naturally you want to exit. What's the point of staying in a marriage with the person that's not committed, right? But for some of us, something keeps us going. A few extra seconds, a few extra minutes before we get captured by the commitment idea again and everything else that it comes with. Maybe a good old kerewa, right? But again, just some things to pay attention to. There's no right and wrong here. Just some things to pay attention to, right? Sidora also noted that it's not that it's perfect because I'm not perfect and God knows he's not perfect. it should be now. This kind of that statement is problematic already by default. Now she could be responding to the experiences she's had, right? It should be that statement. I would flip it and say because he's not perfect and God knows I'm not perfect, right? What will make you flip that? Why would that little thing matter, right? Because this is where love operates. When you don't feel like it, but you're like, no, love. If commitment was really playing a role, you will actively engage giving, not give and take, giving, right? But maybe she's not really thinking about it that way. But again, these little things, they add up. They add up, okay? But they keep doing the work nonetheless, okay? All right, so now that's the statement. So there's this video that I found. I'm going to react to it, right? But I'm gonna have to. You're not gonna see them, okay? You may see them for a few seconds, and now you just hear their voice, and I'll react to what they're saying in about 6 minutes, and then we'll round up for the day. But before we get into that, let me see what you all are talking about before I lose my job. If I lose my job here, let's see. Eunice say, "Oh my God, Raf's story never used to add up. He was definitely cheating on Drew." He says 5, 7, and 9 are usually breaking points for many. Yes, I've heard that over and over again too. Hit that like button, I beg. Thank you so much. Brand new to food. From those facts, she commenced the divorce application. Yes. Right, but I think he filed first, but they decided, and there's a breakdown, and she's saying it's irreconcilable, and it might stem all the way back to the cheating. People say, can cheating break a marriage? I don't think so. I think the wrong response to infidelity will definitely break a marriage. Okay. Somebody say no, it's definitely somebody's listening right now in the background, or maybe later on replay. Like, no, it's a deal breaker for me. Listen, it's how people respond to it that makes it a deal breaker or not. Okay, that's the reality. Okay, when you are in a marriage that you committed to, it's not that easy to just exit because something just happened that completely knocked you out of your core. The last thing you're doing is, you're trying to wake up from that dream. That's usually what's going on. Okay. But how people respond to it can definitely determine the direction of things, And I think he's done a terrible job at responding to a lot of his atrocities. Listen, she's gonna be dragged in this streets of the manosphere. He's gonna be dragged in the feminist world, right? A lot of people that don't know what they're talking about are gonna be talking about this. I want you to listen to me carefully, okay? There's no perfect human beings. Just because of that, there's no perfect marriage. However, repeating the talking point to yourself that marriage is hard, you might just end up attracting that. Okay, that's not sustainable. Just want to be careful with that. That's all. So, but men can be useless, Sha. How can you have such a beautiful wife and be thinking of your assistant? Or more. When they say men are scum, some people have a point when they say that. I don't think you should say that to yourself, because you might end up attracting a scum. Okay, just so you know. But anyway, Kenya Moore needs to mind our own business. That's exactly how I felt about that, Agbaya. But anyway, I'm gonna play a little bit of this, and then I'll start responding. Then you start hearing the audio. Okay.
Roses, there's a lot of roses.
Let me not play that music. Okay. All right.
What?
That's her.
You look really good.
So this was now let's be honest, okay? I'm stopping it now because I just want you to see their face. He's welcoming her into this dating place on a rooftop somewhere, right? And I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play the audio, and then I'm gonna react and pause and stuff like that. But that's how she looks beautiful. But let's be honest, this was filmed. When they notice that there are cameras around, they also tend to put on filters. The fact that they couldn't compose and keep themselves together during this filming tells us that it's even deeper than you think. The issues that they have is deeper than you think. It's not the infidelity, it's how he responded to the infidelity, and it's also partly her abilities to maintain, to engage her power as the feminine the person carrying the feminine energy in the relationship. But it's hard when you find yourself in a situation where you feel the need to protect yourself. The last thing that person is going to be is feminine, precisely masculine, because they need to protect themselves from the evils of this world. But let me play.
So this is my tailor showroom, actually.
Oh, okay. We are here. This is the place that you come who does.
All right, so you're just gonna listen,
I
okay?
understand why. But I'm here. What?
I will show it every now and then.
Ooh, oh my God. This is
When I proposed to Drew, she felt like a queen.
Thank you, baby. This is so romantic.
She felt like a queen.
Give her that same environment on the rooftop. And my boys shop to make sure that my wife knows that no
All right,
woman
so
can
all of
come
this
close to
lasted for about a minute.
This is really amazing. Like, how many dozens of roses? This is a lot of roses. Like, why? Where's all this coming from?
Let's be fair, it was probably longer than that because, again, they were filming. So they cut, edit, chop, right? But it doesn't change what we're about to learn today.
Sometimes I can be an asshole. I get it. But the thing about it is, you know, I love you. And I want to be the best husband, the best father, the best provider.
This right here, this is what I live for. Because you do go out of your way to make me feel like the most important thing in the world. So I love you. I just want to make sure that we don't have these really, really high highs and we go through those lows. And
High
really,
highs.
Deal with our problems on a deeper level so that we can be healthy for each other.
I agree. And I think that's one thing that Dr. Ken taught me was you can't have these extreme expectations of somebody else. You need to first start with yourself. So
He did say that.
my new order now is...
All right, so now they are seemingly agreeing with each other. One of the issues with relationships and marriages in general is people are not actively listening to each other. Listen, it's hard to do. It's easier said than done. At the back of your mind, while you're trying to practice what Allah said, which is active listening, you have your own point of contention. You have things you want to say, and your mind is constantly processing those things, right? And you have the things you want to say, you know. So, and the mind can only focus on so many things at the same time. You can't be actively listening to a person and then be processing what you're going to say back to them at the same time. This is where communication starts to break down. Let's keep listening.
God.
Okay.
Me.
Listen to what he just
God,
said.
Okay.
Me. You need to first start with yourself.
He
So
did say that.
my new order now is God.
Okay.
Me. And then my wife, my kids.
All right, so he said, my new order of things right now is God, me, my wife, my kids, right? And the last thing you want to do is be on a date with your wife and be having these hard conversations. What do I mean by that? Okay, let me explain. Let me break this down for you, okay? Having these hard conversations, well, imagine the feel that she had when she walked into that scenery. The roses, the wine, the champagne on the table, rooftop, right? And then you bring in something that will remind her of pain, right? No, that wasn't your intentions. I get it. Remember, I keep telling you all the time, your good intentions end up in the butter all the time, right? That wasn't your intentions. That's not what you meant to do. But effectively, that's what you did, right? So you now start to have this hard conversation. Now, how does that play out? I wanted to say how that plays out. You don't go there and say, babe, let's not talk about that right now, right? You need to give, when it comes to expectations, okay? Because he just mentioned expectations. Expectations are absolutely unrealistic. Expectations are destroying. Unmanaged expectations are destroying relationships left and right, everywhere you go, okay? Unmanaged expectations, right? So you need to manage your expectations and give your partner the freedom to express their expectations. That's how you create, at least temporarily, that's how you create unity. That's how you get on the same page. You manage your own expectations. You give your partner the freedom to express their expectations without feeling the need to respond in the moment, without feeling the need to tackle every point in the moment. But they decided that they wanted to play this game that a lot of couples play in this very, very moment. And how many of this type of scenarios do you think have played out in the past few years? Right? Defensive, no, it didn't happen, all that kind of stuff. Especially when you took out on a date, the only thing you should be actively doing is that if she wants to make a point of contact, like, babe, I hear you. Yeah, I'm listening, right? Listen, that's not fair, right? You're not going to feel like that's fair. I should be able to say something too, right? Well, you're not trying to play the fairness game. You're trying to engage your power, right? You're trying to engage your power. How do you engage your power? You try to let the other person feel heard, especially if you're the man in the equation, okay? So you might be on a date with your spouse and you're like, but we should have these hard conversations. Like, no. You can, but you need to make sure that the vibe is right for that, right? Okay? It's easier said than done, I get it. But that's what needs to happen, especially if there's been damages, things like somebody caught somebody with text messages and all that kind of stuff. Especially if you have those kind of things, it's gonna, just think about building a home, right? It takes a lot more to build a home than you can destroy it in like 1 minute. Crushed. But to build it, you have to take your time because you also want to make sure it's sitting on the right foundation. All right. So let's continue to see how this played out.
And everyone else. Because I think for men, a lot of the times we're kind of taught and trained it is God, your wife, your family, then you come last. You know.
So you think
he's wrong about that? He's basically he's been watching manosphere type of talking points. That's what that is. When a man is going through a relationship failure and he goes on Google and he starts searching for stuff, he will stumble into this kind of communities and they will start repeating talking points to themselves. And the problem, there's nothing wrong with what he said. The problem is that there's a disconnect between what you're saying and reality, right? In this moment, is he putting his wife first? The reality is that that's not the reality. He's just saying it, right? So what did he say? He said it's going to be God, me, right? My wife and children. How does that play out in reality? All right. In a way that gives you the best result, of course. We're not just doing it just because of doing the same, because that doesn't work. You need to make sure that this connects with the kind of result you're looking for, right? How does this play out in real life? The way it plays out is that you actually play it. You're occupying that role. God, and there's a role next to God. That means you protect everything underneath. That means you're held more accountable for everything that happens to everything under it. That's what that means. To whom much is given, much is expected, right? This is not a bad thing, right? But it becomes bad if you're just using it to manipulate another person. Okay? So, self first. He says something first. He said it's self first. And then he misconstrued it all together with God first. Then me first. That's not designed to be me. It actually means you become a servant leadership, meaning you're ready to die for everything under that. Just like God would die for the rest of us. If you're going to use that, you need to use it properly, right? Let me play it again.
We're kind of taught and trained it is God, your wife, your family, then you come last. You know.
So you think you
wait.
With yourself was you can't have these extreme expectations of somebody else. You need to first start with yourself. So
he did say that.
So he said you can't have these extreme expectations of someone else, but he's actually trying to say to her that the wife cannot have extreme expectations of me. Remember what I just said. You want to give your partner, if you're a woman, the same thing, okay? You want to give your partner the freedom to express their expectation. You're seducing them effectively, okay? You want to give them the freedom to express their expectations. It doesn't mean you have to fulfill them, That's not what that means. They just need to say it a lot of times. They just need to feel heard a lot of times, okay? And then you want to manage your own expectations, meaning I have expectations. I'm human too. That's facts of life. I'm human too. I have expectations, but I got to pay attention to when I decide to express that, make sure it's being received properly, make sure that the message actually lands the way I want it to land, in a way that actually create the result I'm looking for. These are your responsibilities, especially if you are the man in the equation. Most sorry, gone. That's what comes with the position of leadership. Okay, let's keep going.
My new order now is God, me, and then my wife, my kids, and everyone else. Because I think
he said, God, me, my kid, my wife, everyone else. He was trying to say I got to take care of self first. In a lot of respect, you have to do that, but that doesn't mean something you have to say out. Okay, it means you got to make sure you're good, because if you're not good, you can't take care of other people, right? But what does that mean to be good, right? Does that mean that the other person must agree to that in this moment in time? Listen, they don't have a choice but to agree when you demonstrate it. Did you realize that if you demonstrate, you actually leave that person? They don't decide to respect you. They mimic your level of self-respect, because that's the natural order of, that's just how it works. I don't know how else to explain that. That's just how it works.
for men, a lot of the times we're kind of taught and trained it is God, your wife, your family.
He said men are kind of taught that God, your wife,
then you come last.
Your family, then you come last. No, men are not trained that way. That's not true. Men are not trained that way. Now, here's the caveat to that. A lot of people will say, maybe in our culture, in your culture, it's a little bit different. No, it's not. Okay, men are not trained that way. For the rest of us, including women, sometimes you give so much you forget to give to self. That is true. Okay? But guess whose responsibility that is? Yourself. You don't get to say to the other person to try to manipulate them, because when you say to them, now you're trying to make them say, wait, but you haven't really given to me like that. Especially if you're dealing with a woman. Oh, Barry.
Oh, beauty.
When you're dealing with a woman and you now go saying to her that, I have to take care of self first, and you're talking to her and she can remember that you're being, and experiences that you're selfish, experiences that she caught a text message and you still haven't really admitted to the truth of that, and she's remembering all those things, you're not going to create a good result. And you have to hold yourself accountable for that. Let's keep going.
So you think you had it in that order before?
I definitely had it because I was a pleaser. I can't do that anymore.
She said, I had it in that order. I was a pleaser. I can't do that anymore. Is there truth to what he's saying? I believe there's some truth to it. However, there's too much talking going on. There's too much talking going on. Right? She doesn't need to agree to this. You don't need to make her agree to this. You just have to demonstrate it. There's too many men talking too much. Listen, there's a fine line between talking too much. Men need to be heard too. A lot of men are suffering. There's a fine line. It's a fine line. We live in a society that operates off of a certain social construct. Part of the skills you're required of is social skills. If you're operating from a place of social skills, then you're not really suppressing. You're just understanding your surroundings, right? And you're moving accordingly. It doesn't mean she can't help you. It doesn't mean she can't learn how to listen to you. It just means by the time you decide to talk, she's even in a place where she's even more open to receive what you have to say, right? We're talking about your wife now, okay? I'm not talking about random strangers on Instagram, that girl that's arguing with you on a panel. That's not what I'm talking about.
I feel like for me, I would just, not vocalize how I felt in the sake of keeping peace. And I stopped saying how I felt.
So now she's competing. She's saying, a lot of women do that, for real. She's competing. She's now, well, for me, a lot of time I want to say how I feel, but I can't say how I feel because I don't want to offend you. Is that not real? Is that not real?
Because I was afraid of that wrath,
Now it's a competition. She said she was afraid of that wrath. And then she get a chuckle, a little smile there, right? Oh, you see these cameras, you're going to throw me under the bus, right? Let's see what happens next.
Rap is so serious.
I apologize if I ever made you feel like you need to suppress your voice.
And even now, I'm like feeling myself.
That was cute, right? He apologizes if you ever feel the need, right? Right? He apologizes, right? If I ever made you feel the need to not express yourself. That's cute, right? Let's see how well he does.
So walking on eggshells because I'm like, I don't want to ruin the night.
Good evening.
Hi.
How are you guys?
Good, good.
Salmon bite, crab rangoon.
Ooh, okay.
We have a lobster tail with fresh snap green beans.
Oh, this looks phenomenal.
Bon appetit, guys. I'll bring
About deflation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great.
Right,
Thank
enjoy.
you. I love
My
it.
pleasure.
All right. Let's see how the rest of it panned out.
I would prefer to probably use this night as an opportunity just to enjoy each other's company, and we can leave everything else for marriage counseling.
All right, so let's leave. He said he would prefer to use this night to just enjoy each other, right? That right there is, if you do enough of that, you will continue to create more and more problem for yourself, as a man especially, or as whoever is leading the relationship. You could be a woman if you want to lead the relationship, sure. Just understand that for a typical person, it's not sustainable, okay? As a man, right, you're trying to lead the relationship, you need to demonstrate that. Meaning, if she's still talking about that pain and stuff like that, you need to be okay with her expressing that. Like, yeah, we went through this, the wrath. Listen, there's going to be a hit. Like, somebody's like throwing you under the bus. Somebody's testing you. You feel the need to overreact, right? But you being able to control that and say, yeah, I hear that. I know. You enjoy your food. You like the food? Like deflecting small in a very nice way because you are intentional. You're like, no, that ass is mine tonight. We're not going to talk about all that painful shit, right? Make some banter out of some jokes out of it, because if you're too serious, it's hard to suppress, quote unquote, how you're feeling. It's not suppressing, in my opinion. It's just engaging your power. But you're able to say, you like the food? All right, good. But you're still human. It's happening, but you're demonstrating emotional self-control. You allow her to express. She will get tired of it. She will get tired. But for every time you interrupt, you go back to ground zero. You have to start. You have to express it again because she doesn't feel heard, right? Why can't I just be the one to feel heard too? Again, you can switch roles. Who do you want to lead in this situation? She can start leading. Let's see. Can you count on her to lead your relationship? If you can, sure. Get in your feelings and express yourself too. And let's see how that works out. Let's see how it worked out for them.
Okay. So you don't feel like we should be able to like communicate?
I set this up with no expectations. If you value this,
I set this up
fantastic.
with
You
no
don't?
expectation. If you set things up with no expectation, you wouldn't say it out in words. Okay? You wouldn't feel the need to shut her down when she's trying to say something right now, even though whatever she's about to say is painful. Why is it painful? Because there's some truth to it. Right? She already mentioned the wrath. Right? She's making a face over here right now. Okay? Listen, there's no one event that goes to end up in divorce. Okay? It's a series of events. But we can assume that this happened over and over again. Right? It's fair. It's fair to make that assumption. Right? But these are the examples of the picture you want to see over and over again. You end up in divorce court. Right? This guy is not a bad guy. You think he's a bad guy? I believe him honestly when he said I was being that guy. Like, I put everybody for. I believe him. It's just, again, he still doesn't have the game. He felt the need to get the wife to agree to that. I've been through that before. Okay? Where you feel like she must agree to that. No, she doesn't have to agree to that. Especially when it's emotional manipulation. She doesn't have to agree to that. She just needs to feel good about your situation. Just like you need to feel good too. But I want you to start feeling good about re-engaging your power in the relationship. Right? How would you feel if you're able to influence the direction that you want things to go, especially mid to long term? In the short term is always going to deceive you. You feel the need to expect, you get caught up in your emotions, and before you know, you're back to You're back to ground zero again. You have to start doing the work all over. You have to start building all over again. Because remember, it's easy to destroy with one. Just look at our face right now. Their conversation sound like a date. It sounds like we need to talk. Thank you. It doesn't sound like a date, you mean? Yeah, it doesn't sound. You're right. You're right. It's correct. Yeah, it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like we need to talk. If I put all of this together, I'm getting some that night. Unless I just want you to rest. But listen, listen, okay? And if I'm in a space where I feel like we need to talk, then the talking needs to happen first before I'm taking you out on the romantic dinner date and all. We might go out and grab a drink and we just talk. I do that too, but it's not going to be roses all over the place, okay? It's pointless. It's like the same thing as apologies, useless apologies that people tend to offer when the person you're offering the apology to is not ready for it. Let's keep going.
Fantastic, you know.
I value it. You have made me feel special. This shows me like we can make it.
This shows you?
Give me your hand. Maybe I need to hold your hand when I say this.
No, just talk.
She said, maybe I need to hold your hands when I say this. And then he got a little bit angry. They said, no, just talk.
Just talk.
No, just talk. He got caught up in his feelings. If you know you're going to get caught up in your feelings, don't take people out on a date. I don't care if it's your wife. Wait a little bit longer. Whatever issues is going on, let it calm down a little bit. All right. Don't try to use dates and apologies to brush issues under the rug. Call it work. Women, don't forget.
Oh, beauty.
Call it work. It won't work. You need to be strong enough, a man, to sit in that funk a little bit longer. I know you're quick. You want, like you said, he's a fixer. You want to fix this now. Let me take her on the day so we can forget about all these issues. After all, I took you out on the date the other day. And then you start to say things like that, and then she will call you on Sirigun. And then you will blame yourself like, damn, I can never get it right. Yeah, it's called game, right? Sit in the funk. Go and shower. Take a hot shower. Take a walk. Go to the library. Start brushing up on that certification you're looking forward to do, right? Trust me, heaven is not going to fall out of the skies. Trust me, right? By the time you get back to her, you say, hey, babe, what's on your mind? Practice listening actively first before you try taking people out on a date where they will go and mess with your self-esteem and then you start to overreact. Don't touch me. Watch the rest of it.
Where's the wine? I need some wine, please.
She says she needs some wine, please.
Oh, right on time, honey.
Some wine, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She's actively getting caught up in her own feelings too.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna schedule a session for you to go and speak to Dr. Ken on like how to speak to men appropriately to get whatever you're trying to do across effectively.
Yes, and
did you hear what he just said? I'm gonna schedule a time for you to go and speak to a doctor, blah blah blah, so that you can learn how to speak to a man properly. You can't be your own wife's therapist. Go let work. I don't care how many books you've read. I don't care how many videos of the coach you've watched. Don't try to be your wife's therapist. It's not gonna work. That's condescending as shit. Call it work. Call it work. I promise her. She will detect it. I used to be that guy. That's how I know. Right?
Schedule a session for you to go and speak to Dr. Ken on like how to speak to men appropriately to get
how to speak to men appropriately. She's like,
how did you be that?
Yeah, it's not gonna work. It's not going to work. All right. Well, we know it didn't work because this was a time that she's contemplating on leaving the marriage. She called it, we're fighting. You know, marriage is hard. My parents made it seem so easy. Well, it makes sense now. If they do enough of this, it makes sense that our parents, 60 years, probably our parents went through their own phase too, right? Every marriage will go through it. Every marriage. Okay, don't let anybody deceive you. Vetting is not going to make you avoid this. Okay, you go through this test. Okay, man or woman. Okay, but anyway,
whatever you're trying to do across effectively.
Yes, and then I will pay for you to have a session too.
Yeah, because it becomes a competition. She said, well, I would pay for you to have a session too. Gentlemen, don't play that equality game with your wife. Okay? I'm not talking about you saying it. Remember, he said the right thing earlier. God, me. He said the right thing, but he's basically playing the victim. It's basically God, the wife. He's playing God and he's playing the wife being the leader. She should be able to speak to me in a certain way. Never mind that she's caught up in her emotions. Never mind that I initially said I'm supposed to be the leader, right? So in this moment, if this was your employee, what would you do? If this was your employee, all right? Now, this is a very tricky analogy because I actually discourage people from using this analogy all the time. Imagine if you were the boss, right? And your subordinate says, well, and they become condescending and become sarcastic too, because you guys are now going back and forth when it was supposed to be good in the first place. What would you do, right? What would you do if that's the case right now? What would you do in this situation if you were the boss, right? You're not going to just fire them, right? If you fire enough people like that, you will be fired, right? That's the way it works. If you fire enough people just because you're reacting to every time they say something wrong or they were sarcastic, you'll be fired. You're required in today's corporate world, even in today's corporate world, to listen in closer, emotional intelligence, and say, wait, what do you mean? Why did you say that? Right? Why? Because why are you being patient suddenly? Because there's a paycheck on Friday. Now you have to practice some patience because you know you can't overreact. Well, you can, but if you fire enough people because you're overreacting, you will be fired, right? Because it costs money to hire those people. Yes, even when there's paycheck. How much more when there's no paycheck on Friday? This is your wife now. Now she's playing equal with you. Why? Because you were playing equal with her. Everything you bring to a woman, I know this sounds spiritual so much and it's hard to comprehend it. Everything she's the incubator, not you. You bring the seed. You have unlimited 20 million seeds in your sacks. You bring that, but she receives it, incubator, receives it, multiply it, and return it right back to you. You can't win that game of playing equality with women. You can't. It's not gonna work. Okay? And that's you buying into it, in spite of the fact that earlier on you said God, me. And somehow your actions is disconnected from the idea of God, me. Because if it's God, me, you will listen a little bit closer and you will control your emotions. Listen, everything I'm saying is easier said than done. It's very, very hard. Women will test you. Okay? They will. It's much more harder than I sound right now. But it gets better. It gets easier with time. Okay? And I'm talking about engaging your power. So just attach that meaning to what I'm saying. Okay, this is not you becoming disempowered. This is not you being emasculated. If you feel emasculated, congratulations, you're right. Exactly. You're playing it out right in front of your face. Okay.
To learn how to talk to women. Cheers.
How to talk.
And then I will pay for you to have a session too, to learn how to talk to women.
That feeling is going to multiply on your end. She responded to you. He's angry. She's smiling because she will multiply it. Don't play that game with your women. That's not where your power is. Your power is in your ability to control yourself emotionally if you can engage that power.
Cheers.
Dr. Ken said that you do zingers and
we're talking about what Dr. Ken said?
I mean, that's what
they are doing tit for tat now. Tit for tat don't work out well, right? Are you still surprised that they end up in divorce court if you assume they've done this a few times, even without the cameras? Imagine what they do without the cameras.
Dr. King called you a maniac.
A maniac? Do you know what the definition of
Dr. King called him a maniac.
A maniac is? Nobody that's a maniac is this successful. Have you looked at
So now he's talking about himself. I'm stopping it because I don't want them to flag the video. I'm responding within fair use guidelines, okay? Yeah, they're not they're actively competing with each other.
I got degrees on my wall. Go and take a look at the word maniac.
Well, I love a good Google. A person exhibiting extreme symptoms of wild behavior, a homicidal maniac.
Wow.
The marriage counsel just uses extreme words, and it's something that people on the East Coast do, and they have a tendency. But for you to go and try to repeat what he says,
you repeated what he said about me.
No.
You have maniac tendencies. Okay, maybe let me say that. Let me say maniac tendencies.
Don't touch me.
Why are you getting mad at me for that?
Wait. It means somebody.
He said, "Don't touch me."
He says.
You repeated what he said about me.
No.
You have maniac tendencies. Okay, maybe let me say that.
He has his fingers up. Let's look at the body language. I paid my money. I brought you out. Roses everywhere, right? Wine. And I have my fingers up. Gentlemen, don't do that. Okay? If it's still that tense, make sure you sort through the issues first. Okay? And make sure you're able to manage your emotions well before you do this. He did what he said he had stopped doing, which is he's trying to be a fixer, rose petals, all this type of things. He was trying to be a fixer, but then he's not ready. It's not ready. All right, so that's the game. Don't premature apologies, premature dates. If you know you've created a damage, right? Listen, the distance makes the heart fonder. Back off small now. Just back off. You need it. She needs space. No, you need space too. You need space. Back off. Let things simmer, right? Make sure that she's in a space where she's reminiscing about the good old times. And then, voila. Actually, let me take you out tomorrow. Yeah, I'm taking you out tomorrow. What happened? I don't know, I'm taking you out tomorrow. In that space, you're not going to be having this kind of conversation on the date. You have to be very, 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 very careful. Have to be very, very careful. This is easier said than done. It's not an exact science. It's more of an art. So you have to feel, it depends on your particular partner, it depends on what's going on in your particular situations, but I'm speaking in a little generalized terms here. Just make sure that, if you're going to stretch out ends of gestures, that is going to be received. You don't have to make sure, just be reading it, right? That way, at least listen, you can't control other people, you can influence them. You can influence them with how you're reacting to crisis. If you have your fingers up like this already, and you have your mouth out like that, bruh, I don't care what culture you are in the world, this body language says a lot. It says a lot.
Let me say maniac.
Don't touch me.
Why are you getting
She said, "Don't touch." He said, "Don't touch me."
What maniac even means? It means somebody that's truly unstable.
I apologize.
It's semantics. Now she's apologizing.
You said about me. I said something you said about you.
You're not really. It means somebody that's truly unstable.
I apologize. I'm sorry. You said something he said about me. I said something.
You don't even understand what maniac even means. It means somebody that's truly unstable.
I apologize. I'm sorry. You said something.
So she apologized. There's nothing wrong with the woman apologizing. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? How sustainable is this type of scenario playing out over time? That's the question I'm asking.
You said about me. I said something you said about you.
You're not
Tit for tat.
I really am sorry.
We're playing equality. Look at all the roses.
We both have work to do.
How about you just try to?
We both have work to do.
Express myself. If me express.
Do you not hear this all the time? You hear another way people say it is that, well, if only one side of the equation is working on it, could it work? Like, what do you mean? Don't let me push against that so fast. What do you mean? Are you looking for a simultaneous and then boom, we work on it and then marriage is successful? Again, you're playing the fairness game as opposed to engaging your power. When you engage your power, it's not about fairness. His balls belong to you. They're all yours for as long as you want them. If you don't want them, you don't want them. It is what it is. Okay? The same thing. She belongs to you, not to the streets, for as long as you want them, right? Even if you have past transgressions. Yeah, she told herself she was going to leave. Listen, I'm not telling you that this needs to be backed by change behavior. So I'm not encouraging bad behavior, okay? This needs to be backed by change behavior. Even if there were past transgressions, She's not just gonna cut loose and be gone just like that. No, it's gonna take a lot of work for you to rebuild trust back after betrayal. But it's doable. Easier said than done though. Just so you know, okay? Because you become defensive, you will start to quote Dr. King. This is what doctor said you should have done to make a man feel heard a certain way. This is what Kevin Samuel said that a woman should just be held accountable to because she's an adult. You will start saying shit like that, and you will push your wife further and further away. And the problem with that is not that you're pushing her further away. That's not the problem. The problem is that that's not what you want. That's not what you want.
Not be juju be that.
Expressing myself means we have a bad night. But what the hell are we doing?
You ready for dessert?
Nope. Nope. She's gone. 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 All right. Hopefully that helps. I think that was a good enough analysis. These are real life examples. This is not a movie. This wasn't scripted. A little bit because they were being filmed and they knew they were being filmed, but you can assume that it was worse than that. It would be worse than that if there was no cameras around. Okay. You can assume that they're being influenced by the society, social media. Everyone is celebrating divorce, so people think the grass is greener on the other side. And last, everybody might collect woto.
To collect woto.
So that was that. Adebusola, shout out to you. She said, why is he angry though? That she was questioning some of his stance on their issues. He's angry particularly because he doesn't have that level of self-control yet. He's not capable of that. He put himself there, you know. And she's definitely not in that space where she can be feminine. She can't be feminine in that space. She can't be submissive in that space, right? Likewise, it's very hard for him to be masculine if he's going to continue to feel like, let me play equality. She should also, this is our, if you're doing that, that means you don't realize that you have power to influence your wife. And it's no wonder why you're creating the result you're creating. Again, like I said, easier said than done, but absolutely doable. This is the game, okay? You just have to know that. And it's okay to mess up too. You can mess up as long as you're aware that, oh, that was a mess up. I shouldn't have brought up that topic at the date. Well, next time, there's always an opportunity, right? As long as you're aware. But if you're arguing with your own destiny, no, a woman should, then last, you go collect. Last, chop breakfast. Everybody could chop breakfast. It won't be too bad too if you chop another breakfast. To each their own, right? Really something deep was going on in their relationship. They're not friends. Absolutely. They you kind of threw me a curveball there because I watched them enough and they seemed like they were friends. Okay, so gentlemen, whenever I tell you that you should be friends, that friendship is important, that cannot be substituted for your position. What he said himself, God, man, as in leader. Just because you're partners with your wife does not exonerate you from your leadership role. If you're married to a typical woman, even if she said, what I want is partnership, she expects you to be a leader. All right. I know what you're saying. I know what you're thinking right now. Like, wait, what?
Not be juju be that.
I know. She expects you to be a leader. You might not say it becomes semantics, but that's not leadership, that's partnership. But this is what I'm asking. BS, okay? She expects you to lead them out of the funk. You can't be quick on a consistent basis to get caught up in your emotions. Will it work? It's not going to work. Not especially if there's been damages, particularly transgressions on your part. You know, but even if you're clean, you're a good guy all the way, even you self go collect. Let me just tell you, you are required to maintain that position by way of your actions, not your mouth. leadership, okay? And it's priority over if you're partners or friends. It's priority, okay? Everything, it's like the structure of everything that you're trying to build. We're talking about the structure. There's some things that are cute, right? They're cute. Oh, it'd be cute to be friends. I think friendship is core, personally. Depends on what you mean, by the way, because some people use that wrongly too. But I think that's core. But if we are talking about a typical relationship, a typical woman, man in this society, they were socialized with the same environment we're in, then in a sneaky way, they wanted partnership, but they want you to be a man too. Yeah, they might say it like that. They say, why can't you be a man? Right? They have different ways of saying it, but you get the gist, right? They're not friends. Yeah, they're definitely not friends right now. And, but the friendship I'm talking about is beyond any moment, right? I think the cry shows that there's a connection, but they were struggling. Okay, they were struggling there, right? But when a man leaves his position as the king, more friendship too, man, falling poto. I'm telling you, because it's not just women, it's not just men that crave that type of respect. Women crave that they want to be able to respect their man. They want to be in a position where they're able to respect their man. The typical woman, they crave that. Like, I want to be with a person I can respect. So this need is not just one-sided. It's everywhere. The idea that I can respect my husband, right? So if they are struggling with that and they have a connection, even their friends, they break down into tears because it's quite confusing. Right, to an average woman, an average woman. I think I now understand what she said about walking on eggshells. Yes, because she can't express herself. That's why I said, either you're a man or woman, especially if you're a man, give your partner the freedom to express their expectations. It's tough, it's hard, especially if they are really saying things that make you feel like you want to defend yourself. I know it's easier said than done, but if you can go through this exercise over and over, it becomes part and parcel of you. They start to feel heard. They start to feel safe and secure around you. And that person's balls belong to you. Okay? That's what I mean by engaging your power. Okay? I think fairness is cute when we talk about fairness. I don't think the world is a fair place. I think oftentimes when people are asking for fairness, they just want to gain power. They're confused. Oftentimes, not all the time. I think when we're trying to create policies where people place of work in society, human rights, I think fairness is an absolute must. We must continue to engage that part of the conversation. But when it comes to politics and personal relationships or power dynamics, leave that thing outside and find your power. Because the other person is not stupid. They will overpower you. They will actively, indirectly, subconsciously try to overpower you. Sometimes they will be sarcastic, condescending. Okay. Sometimes they will be manipulative. Sometimes they will even give you crocodile teeth. It's power struggle. It's pride. It's pride. Okay. All right, that's all I have for you today. You would agree this was a masterclass. I didn't prepare that it was going to be this way, but this news came out today, and it came out. Brother Patrick, you're there. Good to see you, sir. It's a good analysis, Ola. The guy still needs a long way to go. His understanding of marriage is unsustainable in a relationship. He needs help. I'm particularly concerned about the guy. The lady tried. She tried. Thank you, sir. But when the woman she will apologize. If she has to be the one to be doing all this, it's not sustainable. She's a woman now. What do you want from her? Like, Jesus Christ. She's also going to get back home and try to breastfeed a whole human being. Bruh. Call it work. On your way out, let's call it a day today. Let's call it a day. Thank you. Shout out to you. Brother Patrick, please prepare ahead of... It's tomorrow, Friday. I'm dropping the link, sir. If you have time, sir, so we can chop it up. you come up and we can have a conversation. Okay. Tomorrow is tomorrow Friday? What are we today? What are we in today? Jesus Christ, I lost track of time. No, tomorrow is Thursday. Yes, but I'll drop the link tomorrow. Definitely Friday, so we can have a conversation. Okay. Shout out to you all. Shout out to all 14 of you left here watching me. I appreciate you. You're the true stars here. I appreciate you. And if you're watching this in replay too, make sure you say something in the comments so I can know you were here. I appreciate you as well. If you're watching this in replay, all my UK friends, they typically watch on the following day, so I appreciate you. All right, thank you so much. Thank you, D-Love. You're the best, D-Love. You're the best. Hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.